Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Guitar Souls podcast. This is episode number Who the F Knows, and I am one of your hosts, Mr. Levi Clay. I am here with my handsome friend, my much skinnier friend, Mr. Mike McLaughlin. How's it going, bud?
Being big slim. How are you?
I'm good.
Good, mate. I am good, thanks. I'm good. I'm talking shit as usual.
Yeah, I'm tired because I was going to say I took all of December off of transcribing in order to get some books written. That's absolutely true. I've been writing 3 books this month and done no transcribing for people. But people listening to the show are probably thinking to themselves, you've taken the month off, Levi. You've not done a podcast in about 8 months, which is absolutely true.
Accurate.
We had a very long break from this podcast.
No, not as much as that. It must be about 6 months. It was about June.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, too long.
But things have happened. You know, my YouTube channel's exploded and gone a little bit more viral, which is nice. We're pulling in 2 million views a month currently. I'm sure that will die off again soon. So, so if you are new to my channel and you are thinking to yourself, why is this guy sitting on camera and talking to us? This is the Guitar Souls podcast. We've done a good couple of 100 episodes over the last 4 years.
Did we ever get to episode 200?
I think we were approaching it.
Yeah, we weren't far off at least.
Okay, let's put it this way. Hundreds and hundreds of hours of content.
Very much so.
Long form podcasts. If you want to go back and check them out, by all means do. We have dialed it back a little bit now because life gets in the way and it's hard to find the time to do these every single week. But we promised, we said we would come back for special occasions and to talk about things that had happened during that time. And what better time to sit down and talk to people for a Christmas show, a New Year's Eve show, a year in review show, all of that good stuff. Mike, how have you been?
I have been very well, thank you. The last 6 months have been mostly cycling, trying to lose some weight, as those of you who are returning viewers might see. I tripped my sides, so I'm looking a wee bit slimmer. And just working with the band, to be honest, man, and just trying to get to bigger and better things, which, like all local bands, big things coming soon. Like, we've been sitting on shit for the last genuinely a year, and it's getting to the point now where I'm like, can it please just happen? Please. I can see why musicians get so fed up with like a lack of progress, but not because of them or because of anybody else, just because of circumstances. I can see why people get to a point and just be like, fuck this is too much. Yeah. But otherwise, pretty fucking good. How are you?
No, forget me. Album of the year? You made the shortlist on where?
Louder Sound and Metal Hammer. Well, Louder Sound through Metal Hammer. And one journalist's opinion, which thanks very much. We reached the top 10, which was nice. Up there with a couple of pretty big bands.
That's pretty cool.
It was fucking cool, aye. I was very surprising seeing like the front of Louder Sound / Metal Hammer, like the article, and there being a couple of real album arts, and then Chris being sick onto a Photoshop collage of human bits and sick. It was interesting.
So yeah, Party Cannon's Volumes of Vomit. Go and check it out.
Hell yeah, brother.
You'll have a terrible time. If it helps, I'm happily. Let's try again. If it helps, I will happily put you on my top 10 list of the worst albums that have ever been recorded. So
we'll need to cover at least 3 then. Can we get 3 slots?
You've got 7 slots.
Fuck yes. Fuck yeah.
I'm saving space for all of your future releases.
Are you 3 for the bonuses? Quite right. Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, nothing. You asked me how I've been. Nothing new. Lots of piano practice, lots of organ practice, less guitar practice, but still doing weekly guided practice routines on Patreon every single week. We are approaching our year anniversary, which is cool, which is fun. Yeah, you know the routine.
Mm-hmm.
Some things never change.
Mm-hmm.
Most things stay the same.
Pretty much.
That's still out gigging.
Just life, innit?
Yeah. So I'm trying to think. Is there anything else that I need to tell you? There is. Did you know? This show is brought to you by our friends over at Ormsby Guitars. Head on over to ormsbyguitars.com and check out the upcoming GTR Production Run 15B and other incredible instruments that are going to be available soon. You can pre-order one of these beautiful guitars for under 2,000 Australian dollars. This show is also brought to you by our friends over at Rev Amplification, who make the best amplifiers in the business, but more recently have become known for their incredible line of pedals. Specifically, the Sean Tubbs Tilt Overdrive is my personal overdrive of choice. Fantastic. So, as always, is always really the right word to put in there? As you guys know, Huge thanks to our friends and family over at Ormsby Guitars and Rev Amplification. This show will always be their show because they were very, very good to us when they had absolutely no reason to be very good to us. I have my Ormsby Rusty Cooley signature hanging on the wall behind me. Have you seen Rusty Cooley's Facebook page has been hacked?
No.
Been taken over by hackers?
I seen his band page kept posting random shit, the Suntone page, but I didn't know he had the same.
Yeah, his personal page has been hacked. It's just constantly posting memes and stuff. And
Nice.
it's funny to see. I feel bad, but also I'm like, oh, at least it's not crypto scams. You know what I mean?
That's not Steve T.
Yeah. So give Rusty his page back. And on the Rev note, I mentioned it in the ad there.
Sorry to interrupt you. I'm so half-hearted. Give it back.
Give him it back. They're not watching the show. They don't care.
Give away these chocolates.
Yeah. I'm using the Rev sent me over the Sean Tubbs signature pedal, the Tilt, the dual overdrive Sean Tubbs Tilt.
Ridiculous.
That's my main overdrive. That's the only overdrive I have on my board now. It's really, really nice. Really, really nice. It has a. Have you looked into it? Looked into that pedal?
I've had a shot of yours. I've seen your pedal board when you were setting up when we did the gigs together.
You know what the tilt function on it does?
Is it not a blend between like a distortion and a boost?
No. So it's like a how to best describe it. It's like an EQ function.
Mm-hmm.
It's on the boost side of the pedal, and it's when you kick in the boost, it will give you a significant boost in one area of the EQ, and you can,
so it's like a sweep frequency then for like a is it a mid boost?
Yeah, well, that's the beauty of it. It's you control where
full sweep then
where that is.
Nice.
And how much you want to bring that into focus. So it's a really like effective way of making sure that your boost really brings you into focus.
Mm-hmm.
I keep it relatively flat. I'm using the overdrive live for my overdrive tones, and I'm using that boost when I need more volume, and it's great. I really like it, of course. And I mean, should I want to check out Glenn Fricker's Northern Mauler? Probably not.
I have been tempted to get one to just to see how disgusting it actually can sound. Because I wonder if running a G3 in front of it and then my Deadwall duality in front of that would be pretty silly.
Yeah,
I think that's probably too much gain staging, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm sure Derek and the guys would send over a Northern Mauler if I asked for one, but I'm not gonna take an expensive piece of equipment from them that you just know that I won't use. That level of overdrive, I play soul music.
I think they have been so supportive of us.
Yeah,
you especially, me by proxy, but. It goes without saying, I'm grateful.
But that applies to Ormsby as well.
That's true.
So
it's true.
Perry's had no reason to be as good to me as he has been. Anyway, let's stop sucking off our sponsors.
Christmas gawk.
Yeah, a bit of the grapefruit there. And we're going to go on and talk about stories from this year. So this is an interesting and a difficult one for us to do because this was always one of the most hellish parts of doing a show every week, right? Me and Mike would sit down and we would have to go through all of the news sites to see what had happened in the last week and find what was relevant. Well, I'm sure you guys can appreciate it's almost impossible for us to do that for a year's worth of news. So I put out a post on my Discord server earlier today. So they've had a good 3 or 4 hours.
You can tell we're professionals here, you know,
to throw some stories at us. And I've just had to remember a couple of things. So I've got a couple of things that we're going to talk about here.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought this would probably be the main one, but I tell you what, Mike seemed less interested in it. I'm interested in it, of course, because it involves Zakk Wylde. So let's talk about the fact that Pantera are out on the road.
Yes. Pantera, whether you want to call it a tribute or a reunion or whatever, I think the terminology's been thrown around in different ways.
Yeah.
It's not so much that I'm not interested. Just to preface it, I think I've spoke about it so much that I'm not over it, but like I've probably said as much as I was going to say that would change my mind in the past and kind of got to the point I'm at now. So
I don't remember.
Kind of like the boil over stopped, so I'm just back to a simmer.
But if memory serves me right, the reunion stuff hadn't been announced when we were doing the shows last.
No.
So you've not talked about it on the show?
No, not on the show, that's true. However, I've been talking about it since it was July, kind of the rumour started online.
Yeah.
And then the end of July, August, Party Cannon were out with Gwar. Someone in the Gwar camp, whether that be in the band or on the team, told us that there was going to be the Pantera reunion. This was who it was going to be. It was Charlie Benante on drums. It was going to be Zakk Wylde on guitar. There's a possibility it's coming to the UK next year, blah, blah, blah. They're booking for some major shows and whatever else. And I remember thinking at the time, like, right, as a Megadeth fan, I can't be a stickler about the exact same lineups at all times, right? Like, I get that bands change.
You can be, I think, a stickler if Megadeth went out on tour and it was Dave Ellefson and just Dave Ellefson.
But getting to my point, swapping out members who are alive and can maybe come back versus swapping out 2 dead members, I don't know how I feel about it, especially 2 who had such a massive impact on the actual sound of the band.
Yeah.
Like, I almost think as if Pantera, in a sense, are like Queen. They're a greater than the sum of their parts in that regard. Like, they sounded the way they sounded because all of the stuff they brought together just made this stupid, monumental noise. And I don't know how I feel about it, but at first I was kind of like, I won't be paying money to go and fucking see that, no fucking way. And then people were like, I'm definitely fucking going. You're trying to tell me you won't go and see that and blah, blah, blah. And then just kind of eventually got to the point of like, you want to go and see it, you go see it.
Well, I'm with you on that. If you want to go and see it, go and see it. And of course, I want to go and see it because Zakk Wylde's involved.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I don't like Pantera, I've never liked Pantera. They've never been my thing. Yeah, I'd still want to go and see it.
Mm-hmm.
Not to the point that I'd spend money to go and see it, and not to the point where I'd travel more than about 10 minutes to go see it.
It's not going to be cheap, and you're going to have to travel more than 10 minutes,
Yeah.
considering the closest venue we've got is the Soul Suite. And I don't think Pantera Reunion is going to play there.
Pantera at the Soul Suite, fantastic. But actually, the reason I wanted to talk about it was I saw that Rex Brown, while in South America, managed to contract COVID.
Yes, a very mild strain.
And had to leave the tour just for the South American leg of the tour. So during that period, Pantera was just Phil Anselmo. And I think you raised a band there that I hadn't really considered, Queen.
Mm-hmm.
I have no interest in the notion of Queen without Freddie Mercury.
Same. No disrespect to Adam Lambert or anybody else that sung with them. You're not Freddie Mercury, and that's no disrespect. I'm sure you're not trying to be, but
it's interesting that you mentioned Adam Lambert. Why do you mention Adam Lambert though?
Because he's the only person I could remember that sung with Queen that wasn't Freddie Mercury.
If memory serves me right, when Adam Lambert was touring with Queen, it was always billed as Queen with Adam Lambert.
I don't know. I genuinely didn't really follow it that much, but fair enough if that's the case.
Yeah.
Unless that was.
It's like they're acknowledging, like, this is Queen with somebody else.
Yeah. Which is fair enough.
Maybe I'd be a little bit more into this Pantera thing if they build themselves as Pantera featuring Zakk Wylde.
And Charlie Benante.
Because it is.
And Derek Ingeman for the time they were playing in North America.
Yeah.
South America?
South America.
South America.
It's just fundamentally, like, an important thing to note. And yes, such key members not being there anymore is an odd one. But of course, the metal fans have a long history of being incredibly, brutally loyal to anything. So, all right, if you want to go and see Pantera, you go and see Pantera.
I think that there's a massive interest in it because there's so much trying to make it as original as possible. As far as I know, a lot of the original techs and sound engineers and stuff are all involved. Dime's own tech is involved. I think he had some secrets, maybe the wrong way to put it, but his knowledge of how the rigs were all wired up and stuff was a big thing. So, in terms of production, for people that didn't get to see Pantera and do want to see it, I think it's going to be really exciting.
Yeah.
For people who did see Pantera and are interested in how it measures up, I think it'll be exciting.
Sure.
I really like a lot of Pantera music. Pantera's music. But I don't think I'm all that arsed about seeing it either. Then again, I think it's just horses for courses, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Thinking of Pantera, actually, I do remember raging a little bit that was it Guitar World? Probably Guitar World posted a news story, like highlighting some young female guitarist because she'd done a cover of one of Zakk Wylde's live solos a week after he'd played it live, and I just couldn't help think that highlights, I think, every issue that we have with the mainstream guitar press, right?
Please break it down for me, brother.
It's like, what's the story here? Like, breaking news, person who covers guitar solos on YouTube has covered guitar solo on YouTube. I don't
in 1 week.
Yeah.
With a full stop after every word.
Yeah, I just don't get it. I mean, we know what it is. We know what it is. It's an attractive female, so it's good for clicks, right? Hatred. Utter fucking hatred. Guitar World.
Levi incel confirmed.
I know. Guitar World.
6 months stewing on the fact that women are allowed out in public. So angry about it. I was in his house there and he was visibly vibrating.
I have to say though, on the note of
Women!
on the note of sexism in the music industry, right?
It's fucking rife.
Well, yes. I've posted a lot of transcription videos, a lot, and some really, really great videos. And on Christmas Day, I posted Sister Rosetta Tharpe, which I thought probably wouldn't do well because Christmas Day, and it didn't. It didn't do well. The video that went up on Christmas Eve did really well. The video that went up on Boxing Day did really well.
Yeah.
Then after that, I posted Elizabeth Cotton. Again, didn't do very well. So I'm like, hang on a minute. Why did these two videos not do very well? Black women in the thumbnail. Old black women in the thumbnail. I can't conclude any. I can see no other rationale behind it because after that,
institutionalized racism.
I posted a Borelli Loren video, and it did really, really well. So there's these two outliers that just clearly didn't do very well,
which is unfortunate and unfair.
Yeah, I also did a transcription of her, the pop R&B pop artist.
No, I don't know.
She's a huge deal, apparently.
Don't take that as any sort of like knock on their
of course not.
Their knowledge when it comes to me, man. I'm a weirdo. Like I know lots and lots of popular things, and then absolutely fuck all that's in the mainstream at the same time.
11.4 million monthly listeners. She's
pocket change. Partly Cannon gets that per day.
She's I'm not overly into her music, but she plays piano. She plays piano well. She plays the guitar. And apparently on a live show, she does play a lot of piano and plays a lot of guitar.
Cool.
I did a transcription video of her because on the Disney did a live action performance thing of like live on stage Beauty and the Beast.
Okay.
And during during the song Beauty and the Beast, she came down the stage dressed as Belle, playing a ripping guitar solo with a custom shop like stained glass Beauty and the Beast Fender that Fender had made for her.
Okay.
And again, as soon as I saw that, I saw it on Twitter, and I was like, I am going to transcribe that immediately. It is going to go super fucking viral because of course it will. Of course it will. A thumbnail with a woman dressed up as a Disney princess shredding on the guitar, like she's doing this in the thumbnail. I'm like, that will do well. Fucking bombed. Absolutely bombed.
So we've came to the conclusion then that YouTube is racist.
I mean, yeah, I guess technically they are all black women as well. So currently I'm in this weird position where I can't decide if the problem that the YouTube viewing public and TikTok, to be fair, if the problem that they have is that these people are women or that they're black. So more research needs to be done.
maybe it's both. Maybe they're just really, really, really committed to being bigots.
It is a really unfair one, of course, because like ultimately we don't know how many people are seeing the video and choosing not to click on it. Yeah. It could be just at an institutional level, YouTube just doesn't want to suggest these videos to people. Again, more research needs to be done, but I hate to see it. I do hate to see it.
So here's something really big that we didn't talk about somehow.
Go on.
You nearly losing your fucking channel.
Oh,
how the fuck did we miss that?
You know what? Like,
in the middle of the episode, before we go, oh, by the way, this episode is brought to you by still having YouTube.
It's to be clear, I didn't nearly lose my YouTube channel. I didn't lose. YouTube were fine with me having my channel. They just disabled my ability to monetize any of my content,
which would, I would imagine, probably remove a lot of the reason you've got, not the reason you've got for making videos, but probably take away some of your drive.
There was
a kick in the balls for you to do so well, to bring so much interest on the platform, to gain so much new following, to be doing so well, because it's fucking hard to grow. As you said yourself, you've been doing this a long time, and to get it to start to gather momentum again and keep going and keep going and keep going, for YouTube to just pull the rug. Nah.
It was demotivating. That is the best way to put it. Like, I keep doing YouTube. I've been doing it for 8 years now, and I'm going to keep doing YouTube because all I want is not money. What I want on YouTube is, and I mentioned this in my video where I talked about being demonetized. What I want is that plaque that all of my friends and peers have, of the recognition. That's the word I'm looking for. The recognition that you've put lots of time into this, you put lots of work into this, and it paid off. It worked.
Here's the milestone for the work you've put in.
Here's the milestone. Yeah. So I wanted that plaque to sit behind me to be like, look, Mum, I did it. that was always much more of a driving factor than making money on YouTube.
No, I appreciate that. I know that seems like the wrong motivating factor to mention when it comes to you, because you're not a money-driven person.
Yeah.
You're happy just being comfortable, but doing things right and well.
Yeah.
And educating. Like, God knows the amount of knowledge that you've laid down on me for free. But I mean, you have had to pay that in other ways, having to listen to Pantera. So I mean, call that a penance, I suppose.
Yeah. I don't mind like giving people numbers, right? So for 8 years, I've managed to build my YouTube to a point that it's making me £230 a month. Like,
You should see his house. It's a mansion.
it's not chump change, you know.
No, of course
like,
not.
Everyone's happy to have an extra £230 in their bank account, but also at the same time, it's not a life-changing amount of money.
No.
So when I was demonetized, it wasn't like, oh no, what am I going to do? Like many people do when YouTube gets demonetized for me, because I wasn't relying on it. And while my monetization it's gone up a little bit since since the channel's taken off, people have to remember that all these videos that I'm posting, I don't own the footage. So, and I don't own the songs. So those videos
anyway.
almost always get claimed by the person who owns the video. So like the Frank Gambale video is one that jumps into my mind, right? That got claimed after 24 hours. The video has made me $12. And it's had 250,000 views. I can tell you that will have made I guess the money will have gone to Chick Corea's people. It will have made them probably the best part of $1,000.
And the thing about all of these videos are, and I'm sure you agree, you're just giving them more exposure to musicians who maybe haven't heard of them. And the way you put it about the Johnny Highland one was like, if somebody's going to go and then put money in his pocket, I really hope that's what this video inspires.
Yeah.
I know that's the case for you. Like, lots of people are into performative allyships, maybe the way I would put it. But I know fine well that's not you.
Yeah.
And I'm not here to sing your praises. I'm sure I don't need to shill for you on fucking YouTube on your channel. But
I make YouTube videos because I love music, and it just excites me. Like, music has always just really excited me.
Stu, wait till the new Pantera album. You will be so put off. So put off. There's a song called Scat Warning. It's about 260 BPM. It is unbelievable.
All right, not all music excites me. Let's go with that.
Oh,
but you know what I mean. Like
scares you?
sharing that passion that you have for music with other people is just, for me, it's the best feeling. So I was in this weird position where I was demonetized for 24 hours, where I was like, well, does that 100,000 subscriber plaque even matter anymore? Do I want YouTube to send me a plaque saying, here's a reward for all of your hard work, but also you're not allowed to make money on your channel?
I think that would have been very bittersweet. It would have almost seemed like a kick in the teeth from them.
Yeah.
Like an inappropriate gift.
Yeah. And it's worth pointing out that I couldn't monetize my videos, but that didn't stop the fact that most of my videos, transcription videos, were still monetized by the copyright owners.
Yeah.
So I was in this position where it's like, well, hang on, I can make a video using someone else's music and video. It will get claimed by that person. I'm not allowed to monetize it. But if I upload the Guitar Souls podcast, I wouldn't be able to monetize the Guitar Souls podcast, a 2-hour long form podcast or however long we talk for. That's all original content, and I'm unable to monetize that because I have videos that other people have monetized. The whole thing just didn't make sense.
Yeah, it's
to me. Not that the Guitar Souls are monetized anyway, because again, that's our thing. So I can't make money off it.
You can. I don't care. I don't know. I think YouTube got so big with giving money out in terms of advertising and stuff so quick without considering all the changes that were going to happen and all the things that were going to come up against in terms of copyright and whatever else. Yeah. That they essentially went, fend for yourselves.
Well, the thing I'll add to this is I do understand that it was an automated decision on YouTube's part.
Of course. But then somebody manually reviewed it and went, nope.
That was the problem. They have an appeals process, and the appeals process is great because you submit a video appeal. You don't explain via message. You have to film a video and explain to them what's happened, which is brilliant because I am a human. I have a camera. I make videos. I can do that. Wonderful. But you know who can't submit a video appeal? Somebody that's just programmed a bot to go on to TikTok, scrape content, and re-upload it to YouTube. So it filters out people like that, and that's brilliant. So I made this video appeal explaining that, yes, while I do post... use other people's video content, I'm adding a lot to it. I'm adding and I was transcribing a Derek Trucks solo at the time, so I brought it up and I was like, this is a transcription that I'm working on at Derek Trucks. I've been working on this for about 2 hours at this point. I've still got to finish the transcription, then I need to do the animation and edit it all into a video, then I'll film me talking about it at the start. Like, just because you don't understand the educational value that's in my videos, it doesn't mean that value is not there. And like I'm telling you, these videos are getting views because there's educational value to this. And that appeal was almost immediately rejected.
Which is insane. I mean, even just from the viewpoint that you have transcribed these pieces of music, you've gave us live transcription to go with it, and that's something you would usually charge. I don't know how much it would cost you, but you know what I mean. Like it's not free, and you're putting it out there in the public domain.
Yeah.
Literally educational purposes. There's no other way to look at it. It's transformative and educative.
Yeah,
educational. Both of us are fucking falling today, man. But how can you miss that context? It's impossible to miss unless you go, I'm just going to press reject.
Yeah. And to highlight, you make a good point there, like about what I would charge people to do jobs like this. That's been for years how I make my income. I transcribe music for people, right? But I'm putting so much time into these YouTube videos and writing these books this month. I've no transcriptions this month, not doing any for anyone. That source of revenue has disappeared for me. And in its place, I'm making free videos for people on YouTube.
No, so what you should actually say is it's not that you're not transcribing for a month. You're not transcribing what people ask you to do for a month. You're transcribing what you want to do for a month.
Yes. But I'm now in the position where I'm taking people's requests. Oh, you want to see this video? Cool, let's do this and let's talk about this. Let's see what's cool about this.
And the more you grow on YouTube and Patreon and whatever else, hopefully, the more you'll get that opportunity. And it won't have to be can you transcribe this Maestro Alex Gregory piece of 7 minutes of sloppy played terrible nonsense? But I want it note for note. Please, no.
Yeah, someone messaged me today on WhatsApp asking if I'd do some Chris Impellitteri solos for them. And I need to message them back and say, absolutely fucking not.
Good or bad?
It's just Chris Impellitteri. No, thank you. Like,
I just know your cuppa.
It's just.
It's a name I've not heard for. Genuinely, speaking of YouTube, funnily enough, as a total throwback, the Guitar Suck series.
Yeah.
As long back as that.
Yeah.
For Christoph Godin and Francesco Ferreri.
Yeah.
You know, like those kind of silly compilations. But I've not heard much. Is his music not that good? They're just not your cuppa?
It's not my cuppa, and he's so fast and rough around the edges. Let's put it that way. He's rough around the edges. Not fun to transcribe.
So you'd be a party cannon fan?
Way more work than I would get paid for. You know what I mean? It would be the way I would describe it.
That's what engineers usually say when party cannon has to record with them.
The beauty of these videos is I get to show people videos that they never would have seen otherwise. And that's amazing. Like, there's one video that I wanted to do for people. I sat and started transcribing it. It just got to the point that I had to stop and be like, I can't do this one. That Chris Poland, Mumbo's Brain.
That's the first one I was thinking of, Love Song.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I had in my mind. I was like, there's no way you can't tab that.
I gave up.
Is it that bad?
It's really, really, really hard.
How come? Just because he's mad bends and
it's a couple of things, like
obviously the quality of that.
The video quality is so fucking bad.
It's like a VHS that's been walked through years and years and then flung onto YouTube and compressed to death.
Yeah, compressed to death, but then also just put in a quarter of the screen. It's and the sound quality is all right, but like the video quality is so bad, I can't even confidently say what tuning he's in, let alone be able to discern when he's doing some of his wider legato runs, like when is he changing strings and when is he still stretching and being on the same string. And if I can't post something that's accurate, I'm just not going to bother.
Just reach out to Chris and ask him. He's probably got a copy of the footage.
I'd be fascinated to know who recorded that.
Yeah.
And why I can't find anything else that grabs me as much as that clip.
I think like the Mumbo's Brain stuff is really interesting. For anybody that's totally out the clue here, you've got Chris Poland, who played guitar for Megadeth, now plays for Ohm, which is his jazz trio. Was in a band previously called Mumbo's Brain, fronted by a man who looks suspiciously like Joe Satriani. Tell me I'm lying.
Fair.
And I believe this was in a period where Chris was pretty much in the throes of addiction, because in the video that we're talking about, which is his band Mumbo's Brain doing a cover of Love Song by The Cure.
Yeah.
But it's like just the lyrics are the only thing that's the same, everything else is their own. Chris Poland's ripping solos, man, ripping solos.
He sounds like Sean Lane.
That's really, really fair, because it's super soulful, but when he decides to go fast, he is going.
Yeah.
And his choices and notes and stuff,
yeah, he's really, really fucking good.
It's on YouTube. It's not great quality. You need to go about a minute and a bit in, outside of listening to Satch singing, to get Chris Poland's mad solo. But by God, is he ripping. And he's playing like a crazy super strat.
Yeah.
It looked to me
looks like a Pacifica.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It looks like an 812 with a soap bar in the neck and stuff.
But I don't think it is. Just from looking at the headstock, it's not quite Pacifica shaped.
No, it could have been an earlier Yamaha, to be fair, because they had the RGX series and the ones before them, the kind of shredder. Super Strats.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why I might as well just bring it up because it's not going to get copyright claimed. So,
We're putting it on and reacting to it.
Yeah, why not?
Oh, this is some revulsion. Some revulsion. So there are very few guitarists or artists out there that catch my breath every time I hear them play certain solos, and like I don't really get the ASMR thing anymore. Some music gives me it. This solo is fucking. That could be a Valley Arts. Or like a Levinson Blade or something, because it looks like it's meant to be like a super strat of that era.
Yeah, it certainly could be. Right, I'm going to hit play on this.
Or a Chevelle.
Just a really nice clean tone. It looks like he's got these great phrasing, like these unbelievable stretches in his hand when he's doing all those. So I'm trying to work out what he's doing.
Remember, he doesn't use his pinky with these 3 fingers, isn't it?
Later on, he must start using the pinky because there's some stretch legato sounds.
Maybe it's that he doesn't use it anymore.
Joe Satriani. Okay, let's go to the guitar solo.
It's a nice kind of bluesy song, but nothing beats this solo.
Okay, here we go. There's your problem with the video though. There's a cut there. It cuts back into the verse. I don't want... For whatever reason, there's some of the guitar solo has been cut there. So yeah, I think that's a fabulous video. I really like that. But
it's disgusting playing. It's like I've mentioned this a few times in the podcast. Continuum Drift, the Jeff Loomis song with the Chris Poland solo.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely convinced that Jeff Loomis left that recording to the very last thing to get done in the album, because if he'd heard that at any point in the recording process, they'd just been like, right, we'll just shelf the album. Nothing better's going to go on it.
Yeah. I'm disappointed I won't get to do that video because more people should hear that. Like, it's been on YouTube for 14 years and it's had 9,500 views.
It's insane, isn't it?
It's too cool to not. And, you know, I even had a title in mind or rough ideas for a title. It would be something along the lines of, you think Sean Lane is melodic, check out this guy. Words to that effect. I can't get my head around people that get annoyed, that are being annoyed by these clickbait clickbait titles. I hate having to use them, but the reality is they fucking work. They work. If I posted Chris Poland Mumbo's Brain love song transcription, who's going to see that? Who's going to find that?
I don't really think it's clickbait. When I think of clickbait, I think of like, you're on Facebook, mindlessly scrolling, as a lot of us do, and you get an advert and it's like, 8 times employers one-up their bosses, and then you click it and it's like 75 million pages of adverts for 2 screenshots on Twitter.
Yeah.
I get what you mean by it being clickbait. Like, it's obviously designed not to give you any information, enough to entice you in.
Yeah.
But you're not misleading anyone. And that's what I think of with clickbait.
Yeah.
And at least that's my view on it. But I get where you're coming from. The obscure play the YouTube game.
Yeah. What is people? I've had people message and say they're unsubscribing from my channel because they think it's extremely disrespectful that I don't put the artist's name in the title.
I saw your post about this the other day.
And I'm just like,
the first thing you do when the video starts is you talk about that person and what they're, before you even show the clip.
Yeah.
Here is so and so doing so and so. I think they're really incredible. Here's why.
Yeah.
Here's where they fit in the lore of guitar music. Here's why you, as an upset viewer, should shut the fuck up and respect that you're just playing the game.
Yeah.
Clickbait title with 150,000 views is always going to be better than so and so. Fuck, there you go. Mumbo's song, Chris Poland rips, 9,500 views.
Yeah. Yeah. When I started doing these daily transcriptions, I had a lot of work, other work that I was doing. I hadn't portioned aside time to do one every day, but I was wanting to do them every day. So what I was doing was going through my archive of transcriptions that I'd already done to go, well, what can I repost? Or what can I put things that I haven't posted? Like Guthrie's Regret number 9. I did that years ago.
That is a stupid solo.
Yeah.
Really.
And funnily enough, guys, I don't think it's the greatest solo ever recorded.
It's not.
But
it's a beautiful example of a man playing melodically over easy chords in a hard way.
Calling it the greatest solo ever recorded, ? Is a clickbaity title, right? But it gets people to click on the video and check out something that they wouldn't check out. Timo Summers, great player, said that he checked out Jimmy Herring's playing purely because of the way I titled my video, which was this guy sounds like Jeff Beck and David Gilmour on steroids. And Timo knows his stuff. Timo's a great player, but
I know too. Timo does. He plays rev stuff as well, doesn't he? Aye, I see him doing it at the Dynamis. Sorry to interrupt you. The 740 amps.
Yep,
I believe it is that he's demoed a few times. Yes, incredible player.
He's a great player, and he said, like, I'll be honest, like, I've heard Jimmy's name many times over the years, but I've never watched or listened to any of his stuff because I had a different idea in my mind of what Jimmy sounded like than evidently he does. So if you hadn't titled your video that way, I would not have clicked on it. And now I'm a fan. He's a fabulous player. Like, that's what we're going for here. We want people to click on the video. So I don't want to shit on Sean Lane. He's not my favourite player. I'm not really a big fan. But calling a video, you think Sean Lane's melodic, check out this guy. This guy rips. That's going to do wonders for Chris Poland. So that was a sidetrack.
The most wonderful thing we can do is the best thing we do in this podcast when we do film is just riff, talk shite.
Yeah, I guess riffing on things like this, I just get concerned that people, you've heard me say this on Facebook or wherever you follow me, you've heard me whinging about this stuff. People not understanding like why I do the things I do. It's just simply not to monetize other people's content. Is it nice that companies like TrueFire have reached out and want to sponsor some of my videos? Absolutely, that is a nice way for me to make some money.
And it's the right type of sponsor. I know you're big, like, it sounds as if I'm totally fucking filleting you today on this podcast, but if there's anybody, if somebody to ask me, like, show me a person with integrity, you'd be the first example. I know it sounds a bit daft, but as a good friend, you'd be the first example in my brain, right? And you're kind of like Kieran in the sense that why would I take sponsorship from something that's absolutely nothing to do with my channel? It's no asking for the right thing. Same as with the podcast as well. Even though you lied to me about one of the sponsors to get my ring size, you bastard. Don't think I've forgotten. It's a different story. But my point being that you wouldn't take sponsorship from someone you didn't think gave a good product in the right space to the right customers. And it's good that you're getting that backup from companies even when all this shit's going on.
I'm still regularly turning down sponsors. But when I was
still not loving police,
that 24 hours that I was demonetized, I got added to a really big WhatsApp group full of like big YouTubers.
Hello guys, Levi Clay here, and Raid Shadow Legends today.
But that's the thing, right? We're talking the guys that take the Raid Shadow Legends sponsorships. We're talking the guys that take the Raycon earbuds sponsors and things like that.
So for just to be totally clear, and so I'm not playing devil's advocate, taking sponsorships, there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing at all.
Not at all. It doesn't matter what your channel is, but if you're trying to build a brand in your channel in terms of being, we are here to do this, which I'm guessing yours is, entertain and educate, you're not going to be entertained or educated anything to do with the channel, giving somebody a Raid Shadow Legends to go and distract themselves with. And I don't know, this is me talking not from personal experience, just from what I've heard. Apparently Raycons are very bad.
Yes.
So I can't imagine me and you being like, we are really into our equipment and sound quality matters and you want to give the best product you can. Here's £20 Bluetooth headphones. Listen to this album that we spent £7 million on.
I mean, you couldn't have put it better, right? While I take no issue with people doing sponsored content like that, and when I was demonetized, I joked in that group, and it wasn't a joke, I meant it. I was like, fuck it, if I'm going to be demonetized by YouTube, then I'll just have to find other ways to make revenue on the channel, and I'll just have to start taking every sponsorship that comes my way. Don't want to do it, but like if that's a way to to make some money, then that's what I'll do. If I could get a sponsorship from Neura, who are the company that make the headphones that I use,
that's right,
that I would talk about. I made a video talking about the Neura stuff
more than a year ago.
yeah, it wasn't sponsored. I pay a monthly subscription to Nura for my headphones, which is a great way to get.
I didn't realise you were still using them.
Still use them. Yeah.
Those are the tuned headphones, aren't they?
The Nura.
You put them on and then they.
Oh yeah, they tune. They do.
They've essentially got like a white noise microphone inside the cups or something, and they tune to your.
They tune to your ear
You're
canal
actually,
size.
yeah.
So that it EQs the sound for you, and they're amazing. They genuinely are really, really amazing. I'm still subscribed to them. When you've been subscribed for 2 years,
Keep the headphones.
you don't. They still own the headphones, but you get another product.
Okay, right.
So I've got my over-the-ear buds, but then I've also got the buds now. The Nura.
Really interesting to hear like the difference between, because the over ears I can understand because you can tune as much as you want and you've got like a lot of control of what's coming in. In ears, not as much.
Sure. I'll be honest, I haven't used them yet. They're still in a box in the kitchen.
Okay.
And I also purchased outright. They did a Kickstarter campaign for Nura True HDs, which are in-ear buds with lossless audio. They do lossless audio.
Okay.
Which again,
Bluetooth lossless audio.
Bluetooth lossless audio.
I know that Bluetooth is getting better, but generally speaking, Bluetooth is shit.
As it stands,
for that.
It's a compatibility thing, so they'll work with any Bluetooth, and you have to have a compatible device that can stream the lossless audio.
Like
so my phone currently can't stream lossless audio, but the new iPhone does stream lossless.
Oh, the new one does?
The new one does.
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah, Nura do they do manufacture a like Bluetooth dongle that you can put in thing that is Bluetooth ready to stream wireless audio.
Well, it's funny you say that because that's exactly what I'm thinking of. I don't know if you watch Dank Pods.
No.
YouTuber, Australian, you'd fucking love him. Does just headphone reviews and like MP3 player reviews and stuff, but like sometimes testing with the limits. And he's got like headphone amplifiers and like some crazy headphones, like Magniplanar headphones, like the electrostatic ones, rather than speakers. And Hunter's a cool hi-fi equipment, and he's got a pair of those weird fucking ears that you put headphones on to test their range.
Yeah.
And he compares headphones and shit.
That's super nerdy.
It's way good, man. His content is great. Go and subscribe to Dank Pod, just there. I don't know why I'm telling you that, as if like it's going to make any difference. The guy's got like 3 million subscribers or something.
He'll appreciate our plug.
I hope so, because his content's great, man, and he's obviously really into it. Like he's a total nerd. He's a music nerd. He's a session drummer and shit. Anyway, going back to what I was saying, he done one recently talking about digital audio codecs, DACs, and Bluetooth ones, and ones that are like that. You plug it in the bottom of your phone, or you plug into a device, and that then becomes your sound card.
Yeah.
And a couple of them are apparently fucking top notch.
Yeah.
So I can imagine if you've got a real good set of Bluetooth headphones and everything's running, is it Bluetooth 5.2?
Yeah.
Is the most recent?
Yeah.
Then they'll be making waves. I just remember everybody going on about fucking AirPods when they came out, like, oh my god, they're so good. Like, you paid 300 quid for wired buds that aren't wired and they're shite.
Yeah, I love my AirPods. I have 2 pairs of AirPods, but it's not because of the quality of the sound.
The convenience.
I mean? Yeah.
Which is even funnier when you go into the Apple store and you can see they've got like a cord that you can buy for the AirPods.
Yeah.
Why buy wireless headphones to tether them?
Yeah.
You're ruining my brain.
Yeah. I mean, there is the element of like when you're working out in the gym, like when I have them certain earbuds in. I got the whatever the AirPod Max, I think they are the
over-the-ears?
top of the line. No. They do like a pro version of the buds.
Okay.
They would not stay in my ears when I was boxing, whereas the regular AirPods stay in my ear. So if I was using those and I had that silicon strap, if one fell out, it's going to fall down, you hang on your neck rather than fall to the floor. So
facetiously, I said that like, oh fucking, what's the point in that? Like, I get that.
That's a fair thing to.
I just think it's really funny that we're moving towards wireless technology, and people are like, I better pay a tenner for wires.
Yeah. Well, and also like, I have those Nuras that do wireless lossless audio.
Mm-hmm.
Spotify currently doesn't stream lossless audio, so
I think the only streaming service that did was Tidal.
I think there is a version of it. There's like an HD version on Apple.
You could be right, actually. Yeah, I think they do.
I think Amazon are bringing it in. I'm sure Spotify will catch up and offer that at some point.
Aye, for £35 a month, and yet again the musicians will get fuck all.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Back to music chat.
Why not? Fuck it.
So, continuing on with Pantera and Zakk Wylde, Ozzy Osbourne, and it's like the run of this podcast we've been talking about this. I have maintained, because we know Andy Torrance has tickets for this. There's
you say
has.
Joke. You say has.
Well, he has
Schrodinger's ticket.
Yeah.
Does it exist?
Yeah.
Will he actually go to the ball?
Yeah. Ozzy Osbourne says that he just can't walk much now, unsure if 2023 tour will go ahead. I'm going to keep telling you, this tour is never happening.
No.
I am Ozzy Osbourne's biggest fan, and I don't have tickets for this, and I have no interest in getting tickets for this because it's not happening. And I shouldn't be so harsh on that. It may well happen. It wouldn't be worth going to because Ozzy is so past it now. It's not the same. As much as I want to go see Zakk Wylde, it's just not the same. It's just not the same. I don't like the idea of going to see my heroes when they are well past their prime. And when you've had to cancel it, like I didn't buy tickets for this tour when they originally went on sale because I thought, no, that's not going to be the show I want to see. For now, the man to be saying I can't walk much now, that's not going to be the sort of show that you want to see.
But let's just think about every time we come back to this, Ozzy's been through something new, and yet he's still going, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, falling off the quad, fucking surgery, nearly dying. Was he broke his arm last year? When was that, a stookie or something?
Got divorced. Sharon left him.
When was that?
A couple of years back.
Oh, real?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No,
relapse back onto drugs.
He's a fucking cockroach, man. He's going to survive longer than I is.
Like, I don't want people to think that I don't want to see Ozzy Osbourne.
No.
In fact, I'll tell you what, after the Elizabeth Cotton video, Melissa hadn't heard Elizabeth Cotton, so I was like, well, she actually won a Grammy. Elizabeth Cotton won a Grammy for her live album that she released in 1985. We'll put it on. So I put that on for her yesterday. I've not listened to that thing in the best part of 10 years, and I've matured a lot more as a person in those last 10 years, and I listened to it yesterday and I immediately just got it. I was like, this is such an obvious Grammy winner album because she was 84 at the time of recording it. 84, yeah. She is so past it in terms of her ability to sing. It's rough as a badger's ballsack, right? Guitar playing's still pretty good, but there's more talking on that album than playing because she's telling stories between all of the songs, and you have to think this woman was born in the 1800s. So sitting and listening to somebody who lived through 2 world wars, right? Who saw the car, the telephone, the television, all these things, that saw the civil rights movement, saw feminism, right? Someone like that has stories to tell. So when she's sitting and talking about some of her life experiences and stories, those are just as interesting as the songs. And then listening to her play the songs, and when her voice is a little bit rough, listen to the audience sing the songs for her. It's not an old audience.
That's beautiful,
you can tell, yeah. And they're just, it's like this, you're hearing history, and it's a wonderful recording. I recommend everyone go and check it out. Point is, with Ozzy Osbourne, he's seen just as much of the world. The idea of going to an Ozzy Osbourne concert where he's going to stand up and sing songs that he can't really sing anymore doesn't appeal to me. But the idea of going to an Ozzy Osbourne, call it a concert, it's not really a concert, an event where he sits and talks to the audience and tells us stories, fantastic. Story time with Ozzy Osbourne, sign me up.
Is he going to have a translator?
Probably.
Pardon?
Yeah.
You get golf balls in your mouth today, mate?
I don't need to see Ozzy Osbourne sing Mr. Crowley, but Ozzy Osbourne sitting
But you
and
want
telling stories about Randy Rhoads, or, you know, controversial things like removing the original recordings of the bass and drums from his first albums and having Mike Bordon and Robert Trujillo re-record them, so they didn't have to pay royalties to the original members, and why he thought that was acceptable at the time and where his position stands on that now. And you know what I mean? Like, the man has stories, and I want to hear those stories, not watch him unable to walk across the stage and pretend to sing while he stares at an auto cue. Like, that's not fun. That's just wheeling somebody out to, it's like a freak show at that point.
Not really paying much homage to a man who's taken more drugs than I've had at dinners.
Yeah. So that's a shame.
Here's a big one.
This is a big one. We can't possibly go through the whole thing.
I don't think we really need to be honest.
I don't know what you're like when it comes to using your phone when you're with your partner.
I'm very bad for using my phone at all times, as I'm sure you'll know.
Sure.
I'm getting better, but I'm also getting worse.
Yeah.
Like I'm more aware of my surroundings, but I'm still on my phone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Rather than that, like, zoning out.
When I'm watching like films or TV shows with Melissa, I do my best to not pick up my phone.
But you do.
But somebody sent me this, and I was like, oh, let me just have a quick scan through this. So this
1 hour.
Yeah, this is Mick Gordon's My Full Statement Regarding Doom Eternal. This was published on November 9th. And I should have seen at the start that it says this is a 58-minute read.
I think that's probably for those who can read and surmise quickly.
Yeah.
not necessarily people who are going to take their time going through it.
Yeah.
Not to say that he's like crazy lists of things that you'd have to study. Like
Yeah.
he's very well written. Fair play to him.
Well, the thing I'll say to Mick on this is the disappointing thing is thinking that a written statement was the best way to do this. Long form video content is the way to do this, Mick. You should have done this on video, because you will have had more people consume it than asking someone to read for 58 minutes. Asking someone to listen for 58 minutes is a much, much easier sell than read for 58 minutes.
I don't know where Mick stands in terms of video editing and stuff, but I can imagine that being a considerable ball ache to try and get all of this evidence into a video.
I mean, this statement I think must have been considerable ball ache. Anyway,
Totally. I mean, it's
but to round things up, so people let's bring people up to speed.
yes.
There was a clusterfuck surrounding the second Doom game, Doom Eternal.
From the very moment Mick was asked to do the music.
And I should say the first, well, it's not the first, but the Doom reboot, the 2016 Doom reboot, is fantastic, flawless game.
Absolutely. And you know what? Not long after reading this, I got Doom Eternal and I had it on for about 20 minutes and went, nah, switch this off.
Hate it.
Pish.
Absolutely hated it.
Absolutely. Even the levels are fucking shit.
Yeah. Just completely changed the vibe. Like, you need to rack up combo kills in order to get ammo, and there's like a hub world, and like you've just made a different game here.
You've went from quite a hardcore shooter with like excellent themes and atmosphere and genuine immersion, even though you know it's no real, to an arcade shooter.
Yeah, but an arcade shooter where you've also tried to make story quite an important element in it. Like, just nothing about it worked for me.
The lore didn't work out, and it didn't make any sense. And
I hated every little aspect of it. So
did you platinum it?
No.
It's that bad. Levi gave up on it.
I barely even finished it.
That speaks volumes to me.
Yeah, barely even finished it. Genuinely, really, really hated that game.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I keep interrupting you.
Sure.
I'm just excited and I had a quadruple coffee before I came.
But Mick Gordon, the musician who did the music for the original Doom, was contracted to do the music for Doom Eternal, and it turned out to be a massive, massive clusterfuck. There was supposed to be a special edition release of as you get with video games, that came with the official soundtrack and all of that stuff.
Yep.
No one got the official soundtrack. When it was released, it was terribly inconsistent. It sounded like there were lots of cut and paste elements. It wasn't mastered correctly. The tracks weren't normalized well. It reeked of not being done by somebody who knew what they were doing, or being done by somebody who knew what they were doing, but who did it with no care. You know, someone who just shoved the thing out of the door. And shortly after it came out, and it was getting absolutely fucking panned by everyone, the soundtrack, not the game, somebody from Bethesda,
Marty Stratton.
Marty, I forgot the guy's name, but I'm glad you remember.
Marty Stratton, he was the head of development for Doom, I believe.
Took to Reddit, of all places, and absolutely fucking character assassinated Mick Gordon and pinned every single issue with the soundtrack on Mick Gordon.
Yeah, like, in probably the most inflammatory place he could have done it. The only way it could have been worse is if he's went to 4chan.
Yeah. And we talked about it at the time.
Yes.
And I don't know.
I think we went on very limited information and made our judgments probably quickly.
Well,
too quickly.
I don't even think that, right? I could be totally, totally wrong on this. But if there's one thing that I believe about myself, it's that I'm consistent in how I arrive at conclusions. Yeah.
Yep.
So I would like to go back to that Doom video that we did and take a look at it. I would be very, very, very surprised if I read that statement on Mick Gordon calling him unprofessional and bought it hook, line and sinker. I'd refuse to believe that.
I don't think we said outright. For what I remember, the conversation was, if this is true, Mick's dropped the ball, that's a shame, that's such a waste. But I don't think we came to any like complete 100% hard fuck that guy or fuck this guy.
I know Mick Gordon to be one of the most consummate professionals and respected professionals in that industry. And for good reason, because he's fucking fantastic at what he does.
Let's be totally honest, the difference between Doom and Doom Eternal was Mick Gordon's contribution. I think, although the level design and shit was obviously terrible in the second one, the atmosphere that his audio put into that game, second to none in my mind for playing computer games.
I throw Doom Eternal out of the equation and say the thing that made the 2016 Doom as good a game as it was Mick's soundtrack.
Absolutely, that's my point.
It
Like-
elevated a good gameplay loop into something that was you just did not want to stop doing, because his music just drew you in and just amped you up.
And then bits where you're maybe just exploring, it was nice and subtle, but it was enough where you had like a pulse through it, and you could feel the tension in it.
Yeah, just fabulous. So, like, I really do think in terms of like music and metal, especially in the last 10 years, Mick is an important name to bring up in terms of the relevance of the evolution of the genre. Like, we think of the gent guys as being the guys that were pushing boundaries. Mick obviously has that element to his music. All of these guys cite Mick Gordon as an influence, and all of these people cite Mick Gordon as someone that they want to or are currently collaborating with. Mick's that fucking important.
I can see Mick becoming a producer for a lot of bands.
Oh yeah,
if he doesn't already.
My problem is I can see Mick not wanting to deal in music anymore after this entire situation.
I would say that's the video game industry rather than just music.
Fair. So anyway,
Marty Stratton.
Marty's statement went up on Reddit, and it was so off the wall bananas.
Yep.
The accusations that he was making, it's like, dude, you are like the head of this project, and you're telling me that the musician held all the cards and fucked you all over. Like, there's just no way. There's just no way.
No.
And it's odd that Mick hasn't said anything, said absolutely nothing, which of course Marty knew that was what was going to happen in this scenario.
Mm-hmm.
He'd post his statement and Mick wouldn't say anything about it, which makes Mick look guilty. Let's ignore the fact that Mick will have been under an NDA.
That's exactly what I was going to say. He'll no doubt have been told, you can't say anything else, we will come at you. And I'm sure, even as a respected musician individual in any field, when the head of a project posts a professionally unhinged opinion and has the weight of Bethesda and ID Software behind them in terms
and
of
now
money,
Microsoft,
in terms of money and legal abilities and strength, it's probably going to take you a long time to make your mind up whether you're going to say something or not.
Yeah,
because you've got the right to defend yourself, but anything you say that isn't on the ball, evidenceable, is just asking for a libel or slander lawsuit.
But therein lies the problem, right? Even if
else.
everything is to the letter accurate, like Mick's statement, this could still result in an incredibly expensive lawsuit, which he will win, but it still means he'll have to outlay all of those expenses in order to win it.
Well, here's where I want to also just reinforce why I fucking hate Bethesda as a company. id Software are under Bethesda.
Yep.
Bethesda came out after Mick's post here
in
Medium and defended Marty Stratton and the team and essentially said, lot of shite.
Yeah.
Like there's evidence here. Mick's got evidence. Not only that, Mick hasn't put this out and went, I hate these people, I want them dead, I want them out of the music industry. All he's wrote is, I had a toxic client. I would still love to do the OST and do it justice because the fans want that, but I'm not going to work for a company that takes 2/3 of the work that I give them, tell me it's not good enough, and still release it and not pay for it.
We'll give that clarification to that point in a second.
Sorry.
But you're right there in that when Marty posted his statement, it was just hearsay. This is what Mick happened. Trust me, bro.
But it wasn't even like a well written thing.
Yeah.
It was 6 or 7 short paragraphs of Mick is bad and I don't like him and he did this to the project and you should all be mad at him.
Yeah,
like that was. But the tone was professionally unhinged.
Reddit absolutely ate it up. Then Mick came along and wrote this amazing piece and brought every single receipt that you could possibly want.
And more. Like, I'm sure there's way more evidence than what he's posted here than he needs to give.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's got even just his replies to things where he's like, right, I get your point, but can we not do this?
Yeah. So to give a basic rundown of some of the things that Mick points out, I mean, really, the prime thing is that they announced that they were doing an official soundtrack release, which is not when you do an official soundtrack, it's not the music that's actually in the game. It's still the music from the game has to be reworked to become actual songs, because the music that's in the game is dynamic. It's layers of music that build upon each other depending on the things that are happening in the game. So more work needs to go into it. Mick wasn't contracted to do an official soundtrack, but they announced that was going to be included with the special edition, although he wasn't contracted to do it.
And every time he asked, it was just fucking...
Yeah. Could not get a contract in order to do it. He said the thing that he's learned many times in this industry is you don't do any work unless you've got a contract in place, which is absolutely true. He goes on later on to say that there was another game that he worked on for Bethesda where he'd done the official soundtrack for it without having a contract. Then they shelved the release of the official soundtrack and said to him, well, we're not releasing the soundtrack, so we're not going to pay for it. Oh, sorry. And then later, at a later point, maybe a year later, they released the soundtrack. So this soundtrack went out without Mick ever being paid for it, but it was out there. And that's the sort of stupid, shady shit that big businesses like this pull all the time. And Mike made mention of it there. You know, he was contracted to make X amount of minutes of music. Well, that's how video game music works. You need to provide X amount of minutes of content. This is what I got from talking to guys like Andy Wood or John Brown actually was looking to go into the video game music thing.
And it has to be loopable music as well often.
Yeah, and that was what John would talk about with me. He was like, this is the rate of pay per minute of music. Like that's how it's done, per minute of music. So they would, let's say, contract him to create 120 minutes of music, let's say for argument's sake. And you get paid for the 120 minutes that they use, not the 120 minutes that you make. You can't make 120 minutes of music, submit it, and then go, oh, we don't like any of this. Here's your money. It's no, that they have to sign off on it. So he would write things and do things, and they would go, okay, this is great, we're going to sign off on this. And then he'd have finished his 120 minutes, and then they'd be like, oh, we still need another 90 minutes of music. And he's like, but I've done it all, you've signed off on it. And they would then say, okay, well, actually, see that 90 minutes of music there, we're not going to use that, so we need you to redo all of that. Like a terrible position to put somebody in, an absolutely terrible position to put somebody in.
And then they used the majority of it.
But then they went and used it all anyway. So it just seems like this is open to an amazingly huge lawsuit, because he'll have a contract that will say how many minutes of music that he's been contracted for and paid for, and then you'll clearly be able to highlight in the game that they use more than twice that.
He's asked several times, including in this public statement, that he should be paid for the work that he did that was then used, even though they told him they were binning it, they were shelving it, it wasn't good enough. So,
yeah,
if they're not going to do that in response to a public uproar, it's going to take some legal arm bending to even get there.
Then also factor in that, like, I forget the numbers again, I'm just throwing numbers out here I read this months ago. The best part of 2 months ago now. No? Yeah, best part of 2 months ago. They didn't pay him for like 10 months.
They just kept dragging their heels. That's right.
It's just, I feel so bad that, one, that Mick had to go through all of that, but then on top of that, Mick had to sit by silently whilst people dragged his name on Reddit. And still, when he posted this, there are still people that take Bethesda's side on this because of course, Bethesda make the games that I love, so they can do no wrong. And it's like, what have you people learned nothing about just the industry in general over the last 10 years of your life, and now we get more of an inside view into it. Like, you'd be the same people that are complaining about crunch in the video game industry, but also the same people that will whinge when Cyberpunk doesn't turn out the way that you wanted it to turn. Like, video gamers are the absolute worst.
Yes, but I would definitely say that Cyberpunk was just as much a failure on its own part, and on its own steam and reason, pardon the term, than anybody else's. I get that people were pushing because, but it's been delayed again. Probably shouldn't have been brought out as if it's going to be the ultimate hardware accelerated monster game that will just be the most beautiful, vast, perfect, polished new world you've never seen, when it was nowhere near that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so that's just as much CD Projekt Red, I think.
Yeah.
However, point stands. Anybody who genuinely wanted that product should have been like, delay as much as you want. I would rather it came 2 years late and perfect than I got it now and it was shit.
The only reason that people would whinge about, I want it sooner rather than later, is when they've been duped into pre-ordering a thing. I mean,
now we're going to a dangerous rabbit hole of early access and beta games.
Yeah.
Let's not do that.
Let's move on.
Yes, before you and I end up ranting about computer games, TLDR, Mick Gordon seems to be the good guy. Marty Stratton seems to be an absolute wank. Take from it what you will.
Yeah.
Go and read Mick's open letter. It's certainly worthwhile.
Yeah, if you've got the time, do it. Let's talk about Joe Bonamassa. Joe Bonamassa quits social media. I fear I'm going to be provoked into saying something I might regret.
You haven't been provoked into anything, Joe. You are a free man. You're an adult. You're a very rich, successful adult. And if what people on the internet say against you upsets you that much, maybe you shouldn't be on Twitter.
He's also just full of shit, right? He didn't quit social media. He quit Instagram. He stayed on Twitter throughout the whole thing. So
I don't know, man.
The Blues Ace.
There's an old man coming.
The Blues Ace expressed remorse about allowing a few clowns, quote, to cause him to go on stage angry in a now deleted Instagram post. Blues Ace Joe Bonamassa has announced he's taking a step back from social media following a row with a user who criticised his physical appearance. In a now deleted comment on one of Bonamassa's Instagram posts screenshotted by Killer Guitar Rigs, user Rich Tones, we'll talk more about Rich Tones in a second, wrote, "Time to shave the head, Joe. It's over. Your hair had a good run. But it's surely that should be now. Sure, it's now in retirement." It took Joe Bonamassa 3 minutes to clap back. How about this, Rich?
What? How's that a clap back?
Yeah, I know. You do. How about this, Rich? You do you, and let me do me. We understand each other. Like that's. You don't post on social media if you don't want to hear people's opinions. It really is as simple as that. Like, imagine releasing an album and someone giving it a review and saying, "I didn't like this. I thought it was shit," and then you going, "Well, how about this? You do you, and I'll do me."
Can you imagine how quickly I would have quit music?
Yeah.
Had I the thinnest skin.
Hello. Yeah.
Although saying that, the next comment's an absolute beezer when another user chimed in commenting, "Joe's rocking the power donut," which is a hairstyle in which a man is bald on top with hair around the back and sides of his head. Joe Bonamassa replied, "I'm about to rock a sold-out show in Tucson. What are you up to this evening?" You know what it reminds me of?
Not having to look into hair loss treatment.
Do you remember Xbox Live and the voice clips that would come from that? Have you heard the one of the guy playing Enter Sandman really, really bad? And he says to the guy like, "Yeah, you're sad and pathetic, and I'm going to go on and do something really cool, and I can do this with my hands, and you can't." And then he plays like the Enter Sandman riff, and he goes, "Yeah, so what? Yeah, you're gay. Bye," or something like really, really infantile.
Yeah.
But like as if like a total. I fucking showed him.
I mean,
That's Joe Bonamassa right now.
there's elements of me doing the same thing. They're like I do the same thing all the time when people want to criticize me for how I decide to title my videos on YouTube.
But that's totally different from, "Here's a wee daft flippant comment about your hairstyle. You should maybe cut your hair because you're going bald," which is a common thing that all men who are going bald will get. Me included. I'm thinning like fuck. I get it all the time.
Same.
I've got a fucking peninsula coming in. Honestly, man, the archipelago at the front of my head is starting to fucking form. But so fuck. Don't get the "but I'm better than you." Like just
Yeah.
fucking.
No, I do see what you mean. If somebody like the
This is
amount
a
of people,
tantrum, an online
Yeah.
tantrum.
the amount of people that go on YouTube and say to me things like,
Excuse
you
me,
know,
it's having a tantrum.
"You're fat and ugly." Like, okay, like I'm not going to turn around.
And I've still got a small cock. What about it?
If somebody
I
said
mean-
to me, I would be embarrassed if somebody said to me, "You're fat and ugly," and the first thing that came into my mind was to say to them, "Yeah, but like 60,000 people subscribe to my YouTube channel." Like that's the fucking dumbest thing that's ever been said. It's just yeah. So yeah, go on, read this bit for us.
The following day, the guitarist publicly addressed the spat with an Instagram post that has since been deleted. He wrote, "After sleeping on this, I've come to a conclusion. Last night, I allowed a few clowns to cause me to go on stage angry. That is not fair to you, the fans." Just to interject, no one made you go on stage angry except yourself, Joe. You're responsible for your own actions and your own
Yeah.
emotions. You are a fucking adult.
Yeah.
Act like one.
Yeah. So to do this and to say that's not fair on you, the fans, you're saying that you, the fans,
I fucked up, but it's his fault.
yeah, you, the fans, were done out of what you should have got. You
Mhm.
should have got a good show last night, but I was angry, and it's that guy's fault. That's a shitty thing to do. But continue.
I'm just going to stand still the next party canning gig, not play anything, and then I'm going to put up a public statement saying, "The guy at the bar served me some subpar water. That's why you got this really bad show."
Oh, sorry. There is an actual detail that Guitar World have skipped out on this, right? So after sleeping on this, I've come to the conclusion. Last night I allowed a few clowns. They've missed something out here. That was where he then put in brackets Rich Tones, tagged him being one of them to call. Yeah, being Rich Tones being one of them. So he tagged Rich Tones.
Oh, right, cool. So he used these. I mean, I don't think Joe done that maliciously. I don't think he understands the idea of that internet clout.
Bullshit.
Is it? Okay.
Why the fuck would you tag a guy in it? Why would you tag a guy in a post like that?
Because he's a salty wee bitch.
For one or two reasons, right? It's bullying. It's bullying of the highest fucking order. You tag him in that post for one or two reasons. One, you're either knowing, like Rob Chapman, you're knowing that your audience are going to go and harass this person.
How did you know the name that was sitting on the edge of my tongue?
You know your audience is going to go and harass this person. Or if you're more of an idiot, but still there's a malicious intent here. You want people to see. You want Rich Tones to see the barrage of support that you're going to get in the comments to make him feel small. There is no fucking possible reason to single someone out like that other than harassment and bullying.
It's a poor use of your public stature. It's probably the way to put it. Yes.
I'll let you
Also,
finish.
this isn't what I signed up for 8 years ago. Social media has become such a distraction for me. This place feels like it has the maturity of high school and says you're calling people clowns.
Yeah.
And I fear I'm going to be provoked one day into saying something I might regret.
You've literally done it in this post.
Joe Bonamassa is on Xbox Live dropping the N-word constantly.
But the worst thing about
heard
this,
it here, folks.
The worst thing about this, I might say something that I'll say something that I might regret, right? Not only do you not see that you've done that in this post, but none of the fucking spineless news outlets that covered this pointed it out either.
Yes.
You've already done it by singling someone out like this and having that person have to private their Instagram account because they were getting so many messages of harassment, comments of harassment. People were DMing him death threats, right? How is that a reasonable response to someone making fun of the fact that you're bald? It just doesn't make any fucking sense to me. Like, I will go out of my way to go to every single Joe Bonamassa show now. I'll sneak in because I don't want to give him any fucking money. And I'm going to put a bald skull cap on when I'm there. And I'm just going to keep pointing at my head and pointing at him. Like, you've Streisand affected yourself. You idiot.
Has he at any point made any comment towards Rich Tones to say, leave the guy alone?
No. No. Keep going.
Or even, I don't endorse any actions? Has he just left himself open to that?
Nope, go on.
More on. So I'm leaving this wonderful place to the influencers and good looking. Like, why would you make a comment like that after getting really upset that somebody made a comment about your appearance?
Yeah.
That, like, pick a lane. Enjoy it before it destroys your soul. Shut up, you old boomer. I will see you in real life somewhere down the road and in Riverside tonight. Any posts on this page going forward will not be from me. Thanks for the 8 years. That's fucking... Well, you know what? It's my memory card and I'm going home.
But it highlights why I think that his goal was to elicit harassment here, right? He's saying, I was angry on stage last night. It's this guy's fault. I'm now going to leave Instagram because of this guy. So you're not going to get to see my posts anymore. And just so you're clear, it was this guy. This guy did it. I'm gone. If you're angry, it was this guy. Not saying go and harass this man to make me feel better. But when you post something like that, your goal is to make yourself feel better. You post something like that. If you're leaving social media, it's not a fucking airport. You don't need to announce your departure. If you're leaving, Joe, just fuck off. I'm not going to say that no one's going to miss you. Some people would absolutely miss you. But a bullshit post like that is only to elicit sympathy or harassment.
So a man that... Does he not own quite a large part of Gibson and stuff these days?
I don't know the state.
I don't know if that went through.
We speculated.
So my point being, right, he's a man with immeasurable wealth and stake in the music industry, especially when it comes to like older equipment and stuff. In between him and fucking, what do you call him?
John Mayer.
John Mayer, exactly who I was thinking of. Fucking psychic link. Like, I think they own all the Dumbles on earth, essentially.
Yeah.
Like, Joe might as well be Mr. Gibson at this point, and he gets upset that someone may make a comment about his hairline and throws an actual internet spat.
Yeah, it's
come on, man. Like, see if somebody says something you don't like, log off your computer.
Yeah.
How hard is that? Like, I'm sure it was fucking Tyler the Creator that made a comment along that lines, like cyberbullying. Just log off.
Yeah.
Like, what? Just get off it.
Yeah, what he's acknowledged here is that he has an anger problem. It really is as simple as that. He has an anger problem. Like,
I would say it's a self-image problem.
Yeah.
If you are so thin-skinned that one random internet user making a comment on your Instagram about your hairline, if it gets you that pissed off that you have to make public statements and storm off a fucking platform and then blame the platform and everybody else round about it, then maybe you just shouldn't have been on the platform.
If you can't deal with people making comments about you, you cannot be in the public eye. It just those two things do not go well together. For years and years, Joe had that fucking weird curtain. His head looked like a fucking bell end, right? For years and years, that's just the way he looked. And I'm sure people will have made that comment, but it won't have upset you, right? Yes, you're going bald. That's a terrible shame. Lots of men experience that, and it must be hard for you to deal with. But these actions are not okay. And more importantly, Guitar World pretending that they don't see that. Assholes. Absolute fucking assholes.
I think it's easier journalism not to get involved in that than it is to stoke a wee fire. Or they've left it out so that people like you and I will get upset at it and give them more
it's not the stoking the fire thing, right? I tell you exactly why they do it.
Irresponsible journalism.
No, they do it because they're not allowed to say anything negative about Joe Bonamassa. Because
That's
if you
true.
say something negative about Joe Bonamassa, well, you're just going to get cut off his list of outlets that are going to be sent his stuff for review. You're not going to be able to secure interviews with him anymore. So you have to be nice because it's this weird symbiotic but really parasitic relationship that news outlets have with artists.
And obviously this is speaking from from personal experience. I know you've obviously plenty of experience in dealing with people and outlets and whatever else, and knowing fine well that whatever, just as a total example, not saying necessarily Joe Bonamassa, but just companies in general, when you guys used to get stuff to review,
Yeah.
the expectation would be it gets a positive review.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Yeah.
Even if you have got flaws.
Yeah, because if it doesn't get a positive review, we're not going to put adverts in the magazine anymore. And that stands to reason. And it was never said, but everyone knew.
Of course, totally unspoken.
Everyone fucking knew. So to say that companies don't pay for good reviews, you're absolutely right. They don't pay for good reviews, but it's an unspoken thing that if somebody, you don't bite the hand that feeds you.
You're not getting any future business for those that
Yeah.
you don't give good reviews. So essentially, it's buying good reviews with extra steps.
But the beauty of my situation is I don't give a fuck, right? I'm sure there are many companies out there that will never go anywhere near me because I'm a loose cannon. I say exactly what I think. I am taking Joe Bonamassa to task over this. I've, this morning, before you got here, queued up 5 videos to go live on YouTube over the next 5 days. One of them is a sponsored Joe Bonamassa video. TrueFire have sponsored it, and I'm talking about Joe Bonamassa in the start and saying lots of positive things about him, right? He doesn't actually have the ability to stop me from making a video like that, right? But he'll never do an interview on the channel.
Nope.
Though, interestingly, when KDH made a video ridiculing all of his marketing stuff, they reached out and sent him stuff.
Is that his merch store that is essentially fucking Macy's?
Yeah.
Get a grip.
So if you are watching this, Joe, and I'm sure you are, because evidently you watch anything where anybody says anything about
Googles his own name all day, raging.
I'm making fun a little bit. I'm making fun a lot, right? But in the sponsor video, I say a lot of positive things about you because you're a fabulous guitar player. You really are. And you've got a lot of really authentic influence in your playing, which other people either miss or certainly don't have. Obviously, I'm talking about Danny Gatton. You've got all that in there. You are a really great guitar player. You should not let people on the internet get you down because there are lots of he knows this. You know this, Joe. The title of my video is something along the lines of "This guy is every blues lawyer and rock doctor's favorite guitar player, but why?" or words to that effect. Because you're popular in that community, and because you're so popular and so pushed by all the magazines, you get a lot of hate from more roots-based musicians. You have a terrible reputation among roots musicians because you've commercialized blues and rock. You've done that because it's a business decision, and I agree with you on that. You absolutely should do those things. I'm glad that you have a wonderful career, but the point is, there's people out there that don't like you. So to be upset by it is dumb. You're not upset by the comments. You're upset by the fact that you're losing your hair.
And
deal with it.
It's so not a big deal.
No, of course it's not.
So hopefully the next time you and I decide to hang out and do another podcast, I don't know, in 3 years' time or so, we've got something nice to say about Joe.
And we'll both be bald.
I mean, I've got a double crown, and it's getting worse.
That's not that bad.
It's not that bad because in here the light's coming for the front. See if there was downlight on me strongly,
It
would
just
be
was
like,
when it...
scalp.
No, I know, but I'm the same, right?
But you're quite lightheaded, so I think you get the
that makes it worse.
The extra effect of thinking that your hair's thinner.
Yeah. I shaved my head a year and a half ago.
I remember
because I felt that I was losing all my hair,
and then it came back, and you look handsome as usual.
And I've got hair again. But I wasn't happy about having to shave my head. But I was trying to avoid doing that Bonamassa thing. I'm losing my hair. I just need to own the fact that I'm losing my hair. Let's own it.
If I get really, really, really thin at the top, I'm definitely getting a skullet.
Do it.
I'll just grow my hair out, and I'm Devin Townsend in it. See if I'm going to be worried about my hair, I'm going for it.
Yeah. When I did that, I just went into. I didn't get upset. I just went into the bathroom, got my clippers, and just started shaving my head. And then I walked into the kitchen and I shouted to Mel. I was like, "Mel, I did something stupid." And she's like, "What have you done?" And she walked downstairs. She's like, "Oh my God, why did you do that?" And I was like, "I'm losing my hair, so I just decided I'd shave my head."
But evidently you're not.
I know.
You might be thinning,
She's
You're not
constantly made fun of me for that. It's not as thick as it used to be, but it doesn't matter. And if somebody called me bald in a YouTube video, it's not going to upset me. It's just not going to upset me. So
Well,
get a thicker skin, Joe. Ernie Ball Music Man officially launches the Kaizen model in collaboration with Tosin Abasi. This to me is beyond fascinating.
It's insane that a man who has his own brand that, without getting myself in trouble, so I'm going to say allegedly, got 2 other companies to do all his R&D for him before he decided to launch these models, and fucked over more than one fucking luthier.
Oh, did you see that I got to hang out with Frank?
No.
Yeah, Frank.
Oh, sorry, he got you backstage tickets for
yeah.
somewhere, wasn't it?
Yeah, we.
Who was he taking for?
He's with Billy Idol.
But like, that's right.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Steve
that's right.
Stevens.
So Steve Stevens.
Yeah, so we he got us backstage passes for that, and we hung out for that, and
That's pretty revolting,
and
to
we
be honest, in a
watched
good way.
he was like, "Do you want me to get you good seats, or do you want to watch from the side of the stage?" And I was like, "Well, I'll watch from the side of the stage. Sounds like fun."
I just want to say as well, before you go any further, good guy Frank Falbo.
Oh, absolutely.
Because obviously, the first mention of him on the channel was when we were originally talking about the Abasi guitars and stuff, and Frank getting dragged through the mud. And then you obviously did your interview
it's
with
the same
him.
Mick Gordon thing, isn't it?
Yep.
It's like I was seeing this man get dragged through the mud, and I'm just like, you are relying on the fact that you are the big name that everybody knows.
Yep.
So you can say all these things, and the guy that you're bullying doesn't have a platform to defend himself, so
Yep.
people will just buy it, and I'm not standing for it.
Yes, it's not in your nature to make a decision without hearing both sides. And I suppose the way that I look at it as well is like there's always 3 sides to the story. There's a person's, the other person's, then there's a truth in the middle somewhere.
Yeah.
So I think you were kind of like, well, I'm going to hear out Frank and see where he's coming from. And well, obviously he's built a wonderful relationship from it, which is great.
So watching from the side of the stage,
And credit to him, because I don't think we went easy on him at first.
No.
I don't think you went easy on him even in your fucking interview.
Yeah.
But
yeah, no, I asked him the difficult questions because they needed to be asked, and he respected that. So
again, credit to the guy.
you know what it's like to watch a show from the side of the stage, right?
Aye, quite a few times.
Many gigs you've seen from the side of the stage, but usually
Maybe not as big as Billy Idol, but
usually when you see a thing from the side of the stage, you're like out in the wings, right? But this was a show at the Hydro, right? So there is no side of the stage.
you're just in the curtain.
We were just on there was no curtain. We were just on the fucking stage, mate. Literally just on the fucking stage at the side of the stage.
Right.
Where all of the we were essentially just stood
in front of Frank's guitar racks for
next. We were next to the Steve's amps.
That's cool.
And like honestly, if you let's have a look.
Did you not steal a Steve Stevens guitar? No.
No, I didn't.
What's he playing these days? Charvel?
Nags.
All right, cool. Is that Nick Nags?
I don't know who makes them.
I'm sure it is. Because I remember seeing his name and laughing like, haha, Nick Nags. Like crisps.
I'm just.
Oh, he's playing like a Les Paul single cut thing there, isn't he? Like a gold top.
I had a look around for there were some on Twitter, but I've had to go and get this. This was one of the photos that I saw posted. Here's big Billy. And here's us just standing at the side of the stage. You can see the bass player. Like we're just on the sage. We're just on the stage.
Just hanging about.
Me and Mel.
And as you can see in Billy's face, like, here, is that a sausage supper? Got to bring this one here.
Yeah. So the thing I will also add that I took away from that is we got there and Frank's like, okay, we're gonna go get some dinner. You want to come into catering with us? And I'm like, yeah, sure, absolutely. You know what food to expect in the Hydro, right? Bad fish and chips that you pay £19 for.
Yes.
Fucking hell, the catering that they had that they cater for with the bands was like we sat down and someone came out to take our order and it was fucking it was fillets of lamb and like everything cooked to order and it was outrageous. There was a juicing machine for people to use and like amazing selection of like beautiful looking cakes and fruits and like.
I'm not being silly. You understand why? The Hydro is the second busiest venue in the world. Second only to Madison Square Garden.
Oh wow, okay.
Which is mental, thinking that's in Glasgow, isn't it?
That's pretty wild. Yeah, I was very impressed.
Sorry to tell as a besides. Years ago, I put a picture up for a party canning gig in some pub somewhere. It might have been down in fucking, I don't know, man, Leeds or York or something. And I tagged it supporting Madonna at Madison Square Garden, and my mate from school messaged me like, I can't believe you played Madison Square Gardens and blah blah blah. I'm like, Ryan, it wasn't, man. It was a pub with 150 people in it. Like, I would love to say that it was, mate, but not to burst your bubble. Nowhere near that.
Soon.
Saying that, man, this year we must have played to 10,000 people, which is fucking mind blowing for me, man. Mind blowing.
Yeah, you'll keep at it. Sorry, we were on this story. So Tosin Abasi and the Kaizen. I don't support this. I know lots of people are seeing this and like, oh, that's really cool, and I'm like, why do you think it's cool that the guy who's tried to launch his own guitar brand several times, and for the entire time that he's been doing that, I've said the same thing, which is you should just be going to a company who has experience in manufacture and distribution
He was.
and have them make your stuff.
He was. Just under his own name after he got them to do all the R&D and run away.
But he did all the R&D, but he had no experience in manufacture
Yes.
or distribution,
I
which
totally
was
get
what
that.
completely fucked Abassi guitars. Now, but here's the wild thing: Abassi guitars are still going.
Of course they are, because a couple of YouTubers got guitars and they're still popular.
So we're now in this weird position where it's like, well, hang on, which one of these products do you endorse? Which one of these products? Because we have to remember what an endorsement is. An endorsement is someone putting their name to something and saying, I endorse this thing.
So this isn't an endorsement. This is a collaboration, if we want to use the language that Tosin's trying to do. He's being a businessman.
But it's designed in collaboration with Tosin Abassi. So it has his well, I mean,
Here's the way I see it. It wouldn't surprise me if Ernie Ball aren't the factory doing the Abassi guitars these
they
days.
probably
and
have
this-
jumped in and said, we'll help you with that. Yeah.
This is the deal. That's where I would see it going, because if you think about the Abassi headstock and an Ernie Ball headstock, they're probably not far removed.
Yeah,
Are they?
This is an endorsement.
I mean, it might as well be, but they're not using that term.
It's not a signature product.
It's
but
a vision, an all-new visionary collaboration.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's a guitar.
Yeah. When your face is there, this is you endorsing the product.
Yeah.
It's not a faceless product. Your face is right there with it.
And it's very, very similar to the stuff that was coming out in the Abassi.
Yeah. Which is
Roster
it? The
too.
future of modern guitar with a multi-scale neck. This is the future of modern guitar.
No, what I love about it though, like it's quite a short scale fan. It's 27 to 24 and a half. 25 and a half, sorry.
Yeah.
24.75 to 25 and a half.
Yeah.
So you've got a Gibson to a 24 fret.
I'm totally here
fan.
for that. Like, I don't see the
I'd like to
need
try
for an
it.
excessive fan like this. It looks like they're
It's designed
parallel
obviously just to
fret.
be fucking...
They're parallel frets at the 9th fret by the looks of things.
Why would you want a low B at 25.5?
Or
We
10th
spoke about
fret?
this, haven't we?
Yeah, no, just
Why? Like, you're not going to get the tension you want.
is it 25.5 on the low end?
25.5 on the low and 24.7 on the
Yeah.
treble side. So going for Gibson to 24 fret, super strat.
And I also just have to say, like,
Low B, don't do it.
I also have to say, like, is Tosin Abassi, is he known for playing 7-string guitars? Not, is he?
No, he's known very much for playing 7-string guitars with an extra string.
Yeah. So, no, I can't get on board with this.
I've got a fucking Beasley rant for you.
Go on.
This is Big Mike's rage time. So I'm going to preface this by, you know that I don't like chancers.
Mhm.
You know that I have quite a lot of wheeler dealer.
What have you tried to buy
No, it's
or
the
sell?
Well, just wait, right? Because this pissed me off to no end, and there's a point to it, right? So, as you might have seen on Facebook, and I think on eBay and Reverb, I listed a few Kieran's guitars for him because he couldn't really be arsed selling them, right? So he had his Aristides, which went to a guy in Ireland. Thanks very much. No problem selling that, posting it, the lot. Is Bass 6.
Yep.
Couple of time wasters, but nothing you don't expect from any time you try to sell shit online. Eventually went to a guy who was very happy to buy it, gave me cash in hand, was happy at that. I still have the Solar of Kieran's. Just not any bites on it. I think it's probably going to be like that's the guitar I want because it's an Evertune and roasted neck and a kind of weird champagne finish. It's really nice, to be fair. But then you've got Kieran Strandberg, right, which is a Bowden 7 metal or whatever, right? So quite a nice model and quite an interesting model. The white one with the white pearloid scratch plate, 7-string with the maple fretboard, right? Had that up for sale. Had a couple of hums and haws, but nothing
How
solid.
much?
I think we put it up for 1,700.
Mhm.
But like expecting people to haggle, there's no like I'm not taking that price. But people generally don't. They either haggle knowing they want to buy and get to a number in the middle, or they want to lowball you thinking they've got a chance.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was funny. This came back at my head because we're talking about Tosin Abassi, and I'll explain why in a minute, right? So a gentleman from London who will remain unnamed, unfortunately, because I'm going to be really nice.
Can we call him
Cock.
codename cunt?
Codename cunt, right?
Codename cock.
Codename cock. Aye, probably cock, because he's never seen a cunt in his life. Right? Anyway, that's
That's
Bell
me
Chief.
getting demonetised again.
Just bleep me, it's fine. This bad person, this terrible example in the music industry, music scene. Message me. Also, I've got the sale advert up. Hiya, is the Strandberg still interested? I'd be very interested. I've got a really interesting offer for you. Sure, man, go ahead. I'm actually selling it on behalf of my brother, but tell me what you want to do, and I'll send it on to him and see what he says, right? The guy's like, I actually want to know if you're interested in trading 2 guitars for the Strandberg. I've been looking for this specific colour and model for a long time, and I'm really, really interested. Now, I'm in London, but basically, I want to trade you 2 guitars. I'm like, right, okay, what guitars are we talking about? So
why even enter into that discussion? Because when Kieran's selling guitars, he doesn't want more guitars.
that was my logic as well, but I thought I'll give Kieran the opportunity.
Yeah.
So I say to Kieran, there's a guy interested in giving you a couple of guitars. He's like, well, just hear him out at least. So I was like, right, cool. Fully expecting it to be something stupid, like you usually get, like, do you want to buy this Squire Strat signed by the Rev before he died? It's worth £300 million. And you're like, no, it's not. Anyway, so the guy sends me the link on. He's like, it's a 7-string Ibanez Fricks, which is like the kind of Telecaster shaped one, the newer iron label, which is quite nice, and
I'll bring it up.
Yep.
Go.
And an Ibanez Tam 100, which is the 8-string Tosin Abassi,
Yeah.
the original signature.
That's an expensive guitar.
It was about $1,000 new. So when I looked up
the
the
original Tam, like the one that would go on and do was it a Bath? Not a Bath. Why can I not think of his name? The black metal guy.
Yeah, you're thinking of Sands. He took the colour scheme for his Iceman.
Yeah, the Iceman. Was it
exactly the same? That yeah, the white flame top with the pearl plate, right? The one that he was offered.
The grey one.
Uh,
stony grey. Tam 100 is a stony grey with a.
Look it up just now. In fact, I'll find the chat because I spoke to the guy obviously just the other day. So this was back in November, the start of November, right?
Oh, okay, right, I see. The original Tam 100.
It's not coming up.
It
It looks grey, but that's a flamed white maple.
So you're saying it was one of these? This was a £3,000 guitar.
No, it was a Tam 10 then.
Tam 10. Yep, Tam 10. That makes sense.
Right, but anyway, like a nice guitar, right?
Tam 10's that one.
Yes. So this chappie in another really nice higher end iron label, 7-string Ibanez single cut Telecaster Fricks shape, right? Now my first thought was they're no worth the same as what the Strandy's worth. So I said, right, look, I'll come back to you. Fricks 7 fee each. That's the one.
This one?
Fricks 7 fee, yeah. So it's that one, yeah, but 7.
Okay.
Right, so like nice guitars. I sent it to Kieran and Kieran was like, you know what? I like that. And I was like, well, really, just no being daft, man. You should put there's Ped. We Ped for sectioned in Frontiera. He's for Edinburgh. That's my buddy. Me and him are fighting, trying to get a chrome guitar first, like an actual chrome guitar, but nobody we can get that can do the finish. Like nobody. Anyway, I keep getting distracted. Right, so the guy offers me 2 guitars. I said to Kieran's like, actually, that sounds really fucking good. And I was like, realistically, you should be asking for a bit of money on top of that, but it's up to you. They're your guitars. What do you want to do? And he's like, just offer him it. I don't care. Like, I want rid of that guitar. I'm not playing it much. If I get 2 other guitars that I do play out of it, then I'll be happy. Okay, right, fine, no bother. So I said to the guy, right, well, here's where I'm at. I'm just outside Glasgow. You're in London. There's not really any feasible way to do this, but my band are on tour the 22nd and 23rd of December, just before Christmas. Whereabouts in London are you? It turned out it was quite close to where we played at O2 Islington, so it was like, right, cool, come to the venue and meet me, and we'll do the trade. I'll bring the guitar with me, and I'll take the other 2 away. And the guy's like, brilliant, sounds great. We'll get in contact just closer to the day, and we'll make a plan. So the morning of that gig, the 22nd, I was driving to start with. We left Mines at 5:30 in the morning, and I messaged him at 5:30 in the morning just to say, hiya man, just a heads up, we're on our way. We'll be in London by about 3 in the afternoon. If you still want to come by, let me know. Radio silence all day. 5 or 6 in the afternoon. Hello man, just a reminder, brought this guitar with me. I'm here at your request with the guitar. Let me know what the scenario is. I can meet you somewhere round about. We'll be here at about 10:30. Radio silence. So I found his personal profile an hour later and messaged him saying, what's going on, man? I've not had a reply for you. In fact, I just replied, hey man, messaged you twice about the Strandy. Not going to be in London much longer. Your call if you can meet us at the O2 Islington. And the reply was, hi bro, sorry for not responding, but I'm having a fever and not feeling well. just laying in bed all day. Sorry, bro, but I think for now I'm not going to make it. Hopefully you understand. I was like, no, I don't understand. You could have told me at any fucking point. I've brought a guitar from the other side of another country to you at your fucking request, and you can't as much as say, sorry man, I'm unwell, until I prompt you 3 times on 2 separate chats. You are a cunt. A time-wasting, useless fucking cunt. Respectfully.
That's angry, Mike.
It pissed me off to no end, only because I was like, you've said you've not been replying. You didn't even read the messages. You've been patching me. It's only been when I've sent you a message to your direct profile, you've went, I better reply.
Yeah, can't avoid this guy.
You piece of shit. There is no need for it. It's not a big deal I brought the guitar, and it also wasn't a big deal you couldn't make it. But it's a big deal that you would act as if you can't even fucking reply. You were online the whole time. It was showing on your profile. Now, Messenger might not be fucking the most reliable space for seeing if someone is actually online, but Jesus Christ, just fucking reply. There's there's no unreasonable people, just unreasonable circumstances.
It's cowardice, isn't it? It's not having the confidence to have to deliver someone the bad news of saying I'm not coming or I've changed my mind or anything like that.
I didn't even reply. That's how angry I was.
Yeah, I would hate to be in the car with you after that.
Oh, see, at that point, we're packing the van. I was just like, what a fucking idiot, man. Because it's his loss. At the end of the day, those 2 guitars second hand maybe went for
Oh yeah, retail price on them new.
1,300.
Retail price on them new was 1,700 collectively.
Exactly. So now you're talking what? Like looking them up, I looked up second hand prices and I told Kieran this. Like, I think you're kind of losing out here. But if you would rather have 2 guitars than one, that's up to you. It's your decision.
Sure.
Here's where the finances lie. But fuck you, guy. Hopefully you waste somebody else's time and they curse you or something. I don't know. Yeah. I don't want to wish you unwell, to be honest. I just think you're a dick.
Yeah, it's
what an absolute time wasting cunt. All the way from Glasgow to London with a guitar to get. Sorry, bro, I have a bad cough. I got the black lung, pup.
It's fascinating to see how difficult people make buying and selling. Like I do have some guitars for sale. I want to get rid of my Miner's Hydra. I've put it up for sale. Had no fucking bites on it. I had people message to show more interest,
mm-hmm.
and like I'm selling this thing for more than £1,000 less than the retail price on it, right?
And you'll still have fucking tire kickers.
It's a fucking steal of a price, an absolute steal of a price. But I've always just been of the mindset of like, all right, I might have spent $2,500 on that guitar, but that money's gone. That money's spent. So if I can get £1,400 for that guitar, that's £1,400 in my pocket. That's great, and I can use that for something. That's more useful to me than keeping hold of a guitar that I won't play probably again, because I've convinced myself that that's £2,500. It's not £2,500. That's not what that is. It's a piece of wood. And I'm like that of all of my guitars. Like when I sell things for fucking cheap prices, or at least what I think are cheap prices. So to deal with tire kickers on that, baffling to me. But the real interesting one, and he may actually be watching the podcast. Remember when you bought over those boxes for me to ship my Gibson?
Yes.
Out for
just after your birthday.
Just after my birthday. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That only got shipped out like 2 weeks ago.
The Les Paul.
I am not joking, right? Most bizarre situation in the world, right?
Is this not the guitar that you were telling me at the time you sold for considerably less than you should have?
Yes.
Just for the sake of...
Yeah.
Here you go.
Yeah. So here's the mad thing. I put a deal in place with the guy. I told you at the time, like I took a deposit on the guitar.
Mm-hmm.
Non-refundable deposit. If you don't pay me in 7 days, like if you don't pay me when you say you're going to pay me, then we'll just cancel the sale, and because there are other people that are interested.
Mm-hmm. It's a very unique guitar.
Yeah. He offered me a £500 deposit. I was like, 100's fine. Just give me £100 deposit and then get me paid.
Fair for everybody.
Yeah. The day rolled round and he gave me like half of the money. And he's like, I'll get you the rest in a couple of days. And I'm like, cool, no worries. You're clearly not messing me around.
Yes.
You're giving me money. And you know that if you give me money and then change your mind, you're not getting money back. So like, I can't lose out in this scenario, right? It took weeks to get, and the money came in to me in dribs and drabs. But then the most bizarre thing of all was after trying to get contact with this guy, disaster. After he'd paid in full, it took 2 weeks for me to get a fucking address for him of where to send this guitar from. And
he certainly trusts you to send you all that money and then not give you an address to ship it to.
I know, like it was in this really weird mental space, right, where I kept getting angry about it, and I'm like, what am I angry about here? Like, I've got the money and the guitar. There's nothing for me to be angry about. But at several points during this 2 week period of not being able to get a response, I was like, I'm just going to refund him all of his money. and I'll sell it to somebody else. Like, that's the dumbest thing in the world to do. But there was something about it where it's just like there was no malice in what he was doing.
But
But
there's no sense in it either.
it's just like a lack of respect for someone else's time. Like,
Yep.
I'm not
I get you.
like, just have the decency to respect. If you want to buy this guitar and you clearly really wanted the fucking guitar, and I currently have £1,400 of your money, like, you should be responding to my messages.
Especially when the messages aren't me asking you for more money. They are, where can I send this?
Yeah. Bizarre. It was. I don't think I'll ever have a buy and sell situation that is as bizarre as that. Like, no malice. Really annoyingly, he was in Glasgow on the whatever our last Saturn Struts gig was. He came to it. He came down to the gig. I told him I was playing. He was like, "Oh, I'll see if I can get down." And he did. He came down to see the show. And like, I joked with him when he said he was going to come down. I was like, I mean, if you knew, I should throw this detail out. He lives in France, so I had to ship the guitar to France.
I knew he wasn't close.
Yeah.
Especially considering you're like, I mean, he even came to the gig.
Yeah. So he was in Glasgow and he came to this gig, and it's like, you and I know we've been in touch for years, so like, he knows he wasn't a stranger, still a stranger in the grand scheme of things, but like, we'd spoken a bit over the
He's
years.
an acquaintance.
Yeah. Turn up to a gig, but yeah, not being able to get a postage address for someone after you've given them, I just can't fathom that. Buying things from people and then being like, oh, I'll get round to giving them somewhere to send it. Like, I'm not running a storage business over here.
No, but I think the difference is that they trust you.
Yeah.
You're a trustable character.
Sure. Yeah. Ultimately, I wasn't angry.
Except the drinking Malibu.
Yeah, I wasn't angry at him. I was just baffled by the human condition, by human nature. Like, why? How has this happened? It makes no sense.
No
sense whatsoever. So if anyone wants to buy a mayonnaise Hydra, hit me up. I've got a beautiful mayonnaise Hydra, and I've also got my mayonnaise Duvel, which I want to get shot of.
It doesn't really, but it does at the same time.
I could say I want to get shot of my Ormsby's, but I will always be the guy that takes the position if somebody gives me something for free, I won't sell it under any circumstance, because.
What if it was a gold doubloon? Or a full gold bar?
How have we not addressed the elephant in the room? I'm sorry, there's a train of thought in this.
Okay.
I was thinking of Manny.
I'm listening.
Who gave me my BC Rich, my Mick Thompson BC Rich.
Yes.
That was a gift from Manny. And
the one in the coffin case?
Yeah. And the condition of me having it was that I can't sell it. If I ever want to sell it, let him know and he'll take it back.
Yep. Totally fair.
Totally fair. He's in California now.
Yeah. I don't know Manny. I've never met him, but I've always heard wonderful things.
Yeah. I reached out to him when I wanted to purchase myself a little Christmas present.
Mm-hmm.
The little Christmas present that they wouldn't ship to the UK. I had to have it shipped to the US.
Right.
But also because I'm in the UK and eBay knows that, I couldn't even bid on it either.
You bought a bazooka.
So I had to have Manny do the bidding for me.
Oh, I know what this is.
This auction ended on Christmas Day.
Mm-hmm.
At like 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock UK time, Christmas Day. So I not only had to reach out and try and find someone in the US who was willing to bid on an auction for me under the promise that if I win it, I'll send you the money.
Mm-hmm.
But I also...
it's not Manny's a shoe, and he knows you're going to send him the money.
Yeah, of course. But still, it's definitely one of those weird situations.
It definitely sounds like a scam.
Yeah.
It?
Yeah.
Oh, I broke my phone again. This is my random new number. Please send me $7,000. I'll send you it back. I'm locked at my bank
Essentially,
account.
I'm like, I would like you to buy this thing. I'll obviously give you the money. I'm willing to spend as much as $2,000 to buy this thing, whatever it goes to. If we can get it, fantastic. Just have faith that if you win the auction, I'll send you the money. In the same way that I've now sent him the money, and I have the faith that he'll send me the thing that I've bought.
Yeah.
But
That's
also, just asking somebody to take time out of their Christmas day with their family to win an auction for me. Mm-hmm. But I knew Manny was probably likely to do that. I bought this. Nope. Look at that. Now, I don't know much about watches.
Timepiece, bro.
I don't know much about watches. But what I do know is this is Danny Gatton's watch. This was Danny Gatton's watch given to him by the Elektra Records CEO and the co-founder of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Bob Krasno, as a gift for Elektra Records' 40th anniversary. It's engraved, and it's been purchased from Danny Gatton's daughter. That right there is fucking cool, I think.
As such a huge Danny Gatton fan as you are, this is perfect lore item.
this is like, this will be beyond treasured.
Mhm.
His daughter's been selling a bunch of things recently. She had a bunch of guitar picks, and I put like an $80 bid on a guitar pick, one of Danny's guitar picks. Well, I thought it would have been cool to own. That ended up going for like $200.
Wow.
There was a signed Boss DD3 pedal, Danny's personal DD3, which for some reason he'd signed twice. It was bad to fuck. That went for, I think, $950, which felt cheap. I'll be honest, felt relatively cheap. This I paid more for, but I was just looking at everything and I was like, that is so cool.
Mhm.
So cool. I would much rather have a watch, a piece of history, than a pedal.
Thing is, this is a beautiful timepiece.
Yes.
The chances are that this might be like an actual asset that you've invested in. I don't think you're going to be like fucking walking away with billions of pounds,
No.
but at least what you've paid for it is probably in value as a watch. Never mind the fact that it was owned by Danny Gatton.
I'm fortunate enough that some of my Discord users are watch collectors, so they could give me some information on this. They said ultimately it's an Omega, which is a very respected watch brand, so they do hold their value. Initially, they thought they misunderstood the particular model of this, but when they looked into it, they said second-hand retail value on a watch like this is probably about £800, which is a lot of money for a fucking watch.
Absolutely.
They said, but from a collector's perspective, the fact that it's engraved will actually devalue it, because they want original condition.
Unless it's the right person who's buying it.
Exactly. So they said that they speculated. I'll take it away now. They were speculating. Well, it might be worth more to a Danny Gatton fan, but then you have to ask yourself how many Danny Gatton fans have got the excess money to blow on a watch. So it's probably they speculated it might actually go for a little bit less than the watch is valued at. Oh Jesus Christ! Did it jump up in the last 5 seconds?
Oh, I bet it did.
Like it was sat at $450. And I was like, I'm going to get a fucking steal here.
Yeah, it was bid sniped to
I'm
death.
going to get an unbelievable steal here. And then in that last 5 seconds, I just watched it jump up to 1,300, and I'm like, that was a lot more than I wanted to spend on this fucking watch. But I had other purchase things and things that I wanted to be using that money for, like paying my tax bill and things like that. That's a
benefit in kind. Just write it off. It's a business expense.
Well, I will put it I will talk about it in a video, and then I will absolutely expense it
100%.
because I have to. Because I can't justify spending that sort of money on a watch. I just looked at this and I was like, can I afford to spend this money on a watch? No, absolutely fucking not. I cannot afford that.
But
I can earn more money. And 5 years from now, when I maybe can afford to spunk that on a watch, I won't be able to go and get this watch. There's only one opportunity to get this watch, and it's winging its way over to me now. So
you need to seize the opportunity.
That's very much going to be a prized possession of mine.
That's good. I'm going to seize the opportunity right now. Merry Christmas, bro. Not that it's wrapped.
Oh! What is it? Oh!
A Sign Effects Mini Para. Very powerful parametric EQ for your pedal board.
So I assume this is Grant's?
Yes.
Yeah, Grant's company?
Yes.
So tell people about Grant.
So Grant is a friend of ours from Glasgow who runs his own company called Sign Effects. They do a few different things. They did do a distortion pedal which they brought back called the Dysphoria, I believe. But Grant's main thing is understanding and building ridiculously high quality and low noise EQ pedals. So this is the Mini Para. He has a Mega Para and another one. I can't remember what the name of it is.
I actually have a space on my board currently. So
that's what I was thinking. I know your board's fairly compact, but I thought, see, just a wee one that you can just, even for venues, just giving you that extra wee scoop.
Yeah.
You'll be laughing. I think it takes up to 18 volts headroom as well. Not that it makes too much of a difference with the tone. I had that conversation with him. But yeah, his pedals are very good. They are available on Reverb, eBay, or directly through his Facebook. If you want to purchase one, you should definitely go straight to him, because then obviously no one gets a cut, and he's a small builder and we want to support small builders. But his stuff's very fucking good.
I have I've been following him on Facebook, and he's one of those people that is fascinating to watch talk about his craft, because he is
deep dive.
In the same way that I am nerdy about music theory and transcription and all things like inner workings of music, Grant is that, but about electronics.
But specifically about audio engineering.
Audio engineering, yeah.
Especially EQs, graphs, what affects the noise floor, Like, he's mad.
It's fascinating to see someone like that, and you just think that when someone is that interested in a certain aspect of whatever their passion or their hobby is,
Mhm.
you would expect something incredible to come out of that. And I find it very interesting that you don't see that same level of geekery from guys like Brian Wampler or other pedal manufacturers.
They
Grant
might
should
do
do
in the
well,
back end in that regard.
maybe, but I don't know. Grant's passion for this sort of stuff seems all-consuming.
Yeah, his R&D essentially is his life.
Yeah, which is cool.
When he's
So-
not being a dad, when he's not working at, I think he actually volunteers at the local Oxfam. He's doing this, and I have a lot of respect for him. Got a lot of time for him. He's a really nice guy, and not to be a shill or anything, I would really like to see him do well. And I think from his equipment that I've used, I have one of his small the mini DI, I believe it's called. It's a beautiful thing. So
there's a lot of options on that.
yes,
Like volume, gain, frequency control, but then there's also frequency range switch, 25 to 400, 400 to 6K.
There's a full layout here.
So that makes sense. The frequency knob has each of those areas.
Yep.
So I'm not sure if you choose one and then it controls it, or it essentially operates both of them. But I'll read that.
I think it's essentially to go between, like, if you want to fuck with very low frequencies and tune in, or if you want to go with high frequencies and tune in and give you just that bit more scope, rather than all being on just on one knob.
If you are an audio nerd,
if there's anybody out there who's going to fuck with EQs and do a good job, from what I've seen, it is fucking Grant.
Yeah.
So credit to him, man. Sign effects. Give him a wee follow on social media. Think about maybe having a wee look at their pedals.
I've always found
nice
it
guys.
funny that I'm not that guy. Like you mentioned, like having something like this on your board is great because when you're in a venue, you can then adjust your EQ very precisely to correct for the venue.
If you get some sort of booming going on where you're like, fuck, that sounds pretty horrible and I'm getting feedback at whatever frequency, you can cut that right back.
Which is something that more recently I have found myself wishing for. Actually, not so much with my guitar, but when I've been doing sound on Mel's gigs with a voice, wanting to take out some of the high end because we get feedback issues when we use certain effects pedals.
Trying to find what frequency it's chiming at and cut that back.
Yeah.
That's the right way to tune out vocals, to tune out feedback, sorry.
Yeah. So, this is super cool. I'm looking forward to nerding out with this.
Well, on that note, if you're looking for one for vocals, I believe the Mega Para has a balanced XLR out as well, so you could probably use it for vocals. Look at him focusing in. Beautiful.
Anyway, we've been. I just did all of that talking without the microphone in front of my
That's
face.
fine.
So
That's fine.
I'm sure it'll be fine. All right, fine. Well, seeing as we've just given Grant an incredible plug, and I'm sure he'll enjoy that.
That's a personal thank you. That's not necessarily a professional endorsement from the Guitar Souls, but it might be once you've tried it and you go, holy shit.
I mean, we barely do any shows, so probably not. But speaking of sponsors, did you know? This show is brought to you by our friends over at Ormsby Guitars. Head on over to ormsbyguitars.com and check out the upcoming GTR Production Run 15B and other incredible instruments that are going to be available soon. You can pre-order one of these beautiful guitars for under 2,000 Australian dollars. This show is also brought to you by our friends over at Rev Amplification, who make the best amplifiers in the business, but more recently have become known for their incredible line of pedals. Specifically, the Sean Tubbs Tilt Overdrive is my personal overdrive of choice. Fantastic. So as always, a huge thank you to our friends and family over at Ormsby Guitars and Rev Amplification. And I guess, Grant at Side Effects.
Yeah.
Go check him out.
Not quite the official endorsement or a sponsorship, but big love to him because he's a good guy. And I don't like to see good people not doing great. Not that he's doing badly, but I think for any small business in this climate, especially one who's specialised in electronics and a specific part of audio engineering, he deserves a bit more love.
It's always a tough one, isn't it? Because you have like, you know this well, right? From talking to people who they have pedal boards and they're just covered in like Boss pedals or Dan Electro pedals or cheap pedals, because there are cheap, really, really cheap pedals out there that are options for us now, like the Moore stuff, like all these Chinese imports that you can get of things that are just done dirt cheap. It's hard to look at a product like this. I mean, I don't know the retail price on this, but I know Grant stuff isn't dirt cheap, you know?
No, it's kind of slap bang between, isn't it? It's like small business competitive pricing versus the boutique stuff that it's going after, but still not as cheap as you say, like the whatever's coming from China or whatever.
It can be a hard sell to people to understand that investment in your gear and having good quality gear that sounds good will only help to make you fucking sound good.
Totally.
And these things always seem to be a tough sell to people. Like the idea of someone buying an EQ pedal, you have to really fucking care about your tone to buy a reverb pedal, because you're going to go, well, I've got 3 EQ knobs on my amp.
I actually don't. I agree with what you're saying, but I would say it's probably more so lots of people probably need an EQ pedal and don't realise.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Like,
throw one in your effects loop, put it somewhere in your chain, fuck with it. Have your guitar tone that you're happy with, but maybe, I don't know, maybe, oh fuck, I love how that sounds in the mids up, but it's a bit honky.
Yeah.
Find the frequency you're not happy with. Tune it down a bit.
Yeah, it's a tough one to convince people to spend money on, and again, when you see the cheap options out there, you're going to look at things like this and go, oh, is that the thing for me? But then you look at the amount of care and nerdiness that goes into creating something like that, and you just understand that the R&D involved in this is not the same as buying a little fucking 5-band Moore EQ.
Absolutely not. I've got an MXR 6-band on my board at the moment, and I bought it originally thinking, it'll just be like a wee extra. I actually thought at the time, like, it'll make an interesting boost. So putting that in front of my preamp, the Rev G3, would have been interesting, because then you can boost certain frequencies rather than it just being like a clean boost or whatever. Yeah. But I've found since having that on just my little fly rig as the last pedal before the power amp, it's fucking great. Because you go to venues, there's a cab I've never used, plug it in, fuck, that sounds really horrible. There's like way too much bass. Right, cool, I'm going to go to that 100 hertz slider and just go notch down a wee bit. Oh, I'll bump that a wee bit, and before you know it, you've tuned yourself to the room without trying.
Yeah.
It's the same as getting into like the geekery of guitar cabs. Speaking of which, I've still got your Zilla. Different speakers, different build styles, open to closed back, ported cabinets, where it sits in the room, how it's angled, fucking impedance,
mic placement.
Aye, it's all mind bending until you get into it.
Yeah.
But once you start to fuck with it, and you kind of get towards where you feel you know what you're doing and you enjoy, it's just another route of fun.
And just knowing that it's the details in your tone that make it sound, alive and unique. For people that maybe haven't taken interest in EQ or taken interest in cabinets, the example I would always go to is a delay pedal. So I love a bit of delay, and currently I have a compromised delay on my board. I'm using the TC Electronic Flashback Mini. The tiny little one.
The Jam delay llama that died.
Jam delay llama, which I love, but that died. I don't know why that died. I also have the Wampler Tape Echo. Now the Wampler Tape Echo is much better than the Flashback, and I have the Wampler Tape Echo because it's what we're talking about here. It gives me the thing that I love more than anything. I don't like a digital delay. I like that analog sounding delay. I like degradation in the delayed sound. I want to be able to control the EQ of the degraded notes and the pitch flutter of those degraded notes, like you get on a tape.
Vintage or decay, I think, are the terms you usually see on pedals that I've got.
Yeah, and I care about stuff like that. And when you're playing around with tone and you have a delay, you'd just be amazed that you don't think of the delayed sound. You think of it as being an effect, but it's the overall effect that it creates. Like, do you want it to sound like that pristine delay where it's essentially adding something to your tone, or do you want to enhance the fact that this is a background effect by putting lots of flutter and taking off all the high end on the delayed notes, like magic? And when you look at that and go, oh, okay, that makes sense to me, then things like EQ pedals, things like caring about your fucking cab, or things like that, they start to matter.
I think they always have. You just get so caught up in. At first, it's like tone mood, and then it's what fucking picks you're using, and what pickups you're using, and then how long your cable is if you're using a wireless or not, and what your amp sounds like. And then I think you kind of stop at that mentally, because you're like, right, I've covered all bases. Not thinking, nope, the cab and the speaker make a massive difference, and then everything else I'm fucking about with round about that.
Right, that's us at 2 hours. Mike, it's been a long time.
It has been. You ready for this?
Until next time.
Bye, fuckers.